I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You're good.
Okay. Acknowledgement. Okay. I'd like to get a motion to accept the meetings from September 8th and September 22nd, 2025, please.
Second. So moved.
So moved. May I have a second, please?
I have Campus as second.
Second, yes.
Yeah. Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Campus.
Aye.
Councilman Prusikowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Acceptance carried. Okay. Do any of the town board members have any conflict of interest regarding any of the items listed on tonight's meeting agenda?
No.
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 That's good. First, we have a workshop presentation to discuss regarding proposed zoning amendment petition and amendment site plan for NRI/CIA Resort Hotel Project.
Someone here. So where's Michael Zarin?
He's here.
Where is he?
I think they're in the lobby.
Oh.
Is that for Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, I think he thinks he's third.
He's what?
He thinks he's after the public hearing.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you want me to get him?
Nope, he's workshop.
Okay.
No, now. Thank you.
Oh, I see, because it does have, see, your agenda does have the public hearings and then has the workshop after that.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah, but
That makes
that's not
sense.
what's on my cheat sheet.
Sorry. That was my fault.
You got lucky because Al's...
Figured you were going to take too long anyway, the way you go on and on and on and on, but that's all right.
Yeah, please. Wow, we're not used to being taken first. This is a rarity for us.
What do you do with it?
Jason's because he's on here. But he'll be coming in, we'll do these.
All right.
Definitely gotta get a bigger screen.
Are we good?
Yeah.
We're ready?
Pictures up to start?
No, I'll get you started. Oh, good morning. Oh.
Okay, you're not used to coming first?
Yeah, I'm not, you can tell, and especially my last name being Zarin. It was not first much in my life. Well, good evening. I'm here tonight. You probably know some of the people here. Lou Dorso, project manager, Scott Cruikshank, Consigli, and Michael Gotti from Gensler.
Not related to John in any way, right?
Yeah, I say it.
Yeah, he's got to get
So,
rid of that all the time.
it's good to see you all again. We are back for more approvals. So, seriously, we're hoping, that a good project will even be made better. As you might know, the one and only project at the CIA, which is now called, and I'll explain why, is now under full construction. And I'll let Lou just touch on that. In the meantime, we were lucky to attract one of the world's foremost hospitality brands as a partner and operator after we received our full approvals from the planning board on the project. And based on that, they sought a couple of relatively minor changes to the approved site plan and project, consisting primarily of relocation of various uses and mostly tweaking. However, this did provide us also with an opportunity to develop the Cocos parcel, which has been a long sought-after objective by the town and certainly yourselves and the planning board. And that's been added to the project. As such, some of you might already be aware, we formally commenced a amended site plan and subdivision review before the planning board last week with the filing of an amended site plan and subdivision application. That was distributed to all the involved and interested agencies literally, I believe, on Friday. So you may have seen that, but what we wanted to do was come here tonight because there is a minor zoning amendment that we are seeking to mostly realign some of the uses with the zoning on the site. I don't know if, and I'll explain this in more detail in a second, but the site has two zonings. The CIA site, it has mostly SAD, St. Andrews District, but it also has some commercial business zoning on the site. And we were seeking a rezoning that, frankly, we worked out with the site, with the planning board, and they'll be, I'm sure, providing you with a letter real soon, recommendation. But we wanted to come here and give you an update on the project and begin to discuss that. There was a copy of the zoning petition and in our cover letter to the board about the project that you should have received. We wanted to begin in this workshop, at least give you a briefing on this, albeit, as I know you're probably aware, you can't take any final action on the zoning amendment until the planning board completes secret review. So we're here today to discuss it. So I know you have an extremely long agenda tonight. So let us do this. Lou's going to describe what's been going on at the site and the construction to date. Michael Gotti will take you very quickly through some of the changes in the project, and then I will just go over the zoning amendment and sort of what's been going on and in what's your package with the secret review. So without any further ado, Lou, you want to just
Well,
give-
I'm actually not going to speak. I'm going to let Scott take
Oh.
over. Scott is a general contractor with Consigli, and he can describe to you what's gone on so far, but we've hired them to manage the construction project to date.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us tonight. As you probably all have seen, hopefully driving by, you've seen the progress ongoing on the site. Currently, to date, we've installed the water line into the property. It currently is onto the PRV vault, and we're just awaiting Board of Health approval to let it flow to the hydrant that we'll need for construction. The entrance, is probably the thing that you see the most of. Is about 80% complete. We have binder course and curbing down. We're about a week away from putting down the final course of paving. And the light poles are up, and we're starting to string the lights and equipment. We think that to complete the work of the traffic lights about between 2 and 4 weeks. We've been working with your local police department, keeping them in the loop, letting them know when it might become active. Further down the property, we started doing some rock removal. We're doing it by hammer, so it's less intrusive, just to get ahead of some of the rock removal for the project. And we're using that resource to create the road beds. So we have some really good roads that are working back in through there so that there's really good access for not only construction equipment, but for emergency equipment or wherever it may be. And I think that's pretty much it. But we're making really good progress.
All right. So Michael is the, and some of you might not be totally familiar with the project. I don't know, I believe some of you were not here during the last round with the amendment and our approvals. So Michael will just quickly go through what changes, minor amendments that we're seeking before the planning board, and then I'll take it.
Okay, great, thanks, Mike. You guys hear me okay? I can be loud, all right. So appreciate the time here tonight. I'm going to run through quickly, just the basic ethos and architectural style is not changing at all. You guys will maybe recognize this plan here. This is the approved master plan from about a year ago now. And when you put the two next to each other, this is the one that we're proposing. You're going to see very similar things. The road system is exactly the same. There's two buildings that basically swapped use. So when Michael mentioned the one and only came in here, in the old plan we had our event space here for weddings and an event lawn, and we had our spa over here. We've basically switched those two uses. The buildings are redesigned to accommodate the locations on the site. But for the most part, that's the big programmatic change, which is really not a big change. The footprints are relatively the same. Building massing and such, we maintain because we very clearly had a really great back and forth with the planning board and made sure that we did all the things that they had asked the first time. One thing you will notice, though, is right in this area here, it's hard to see maybe from where you guys are sitting, we used to have a maintenance facility here and a parking facility with some stacked parking. If some of you saw that before, you might have been like, boy, that's not a really great thing. We were not very happy with that either. And you'll notice here that Coco's was not being touched. That's the change that I think you, hopefully you'll agree that is a really great improvement for the site. When we did acquire this and start to develop the Coco site, it allows us to move the facility, the maintenance and receiving and back of house facilities over to this location. But obviously on Route 9, we wanted a presence there that made some more sense. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. But that's what you can kind of see the difference.
Michael used the term when we acquired. We didn't acquire. It's still owned by the CIA. It's still going to be pursuant to a ground lease with the CIA, which is the arrangement we have for the entire property. It'll be added to that master lease.
As the architect, I acquired it to design on, so that's what I meant to say. It was given to me to use, and I was very happy about. So running through, this is the more detailed plan here, and I'll run through if you guys want to see anything specific. If you've seen the project before, you're going to notice again, as I mentioned, that the architecture has stayed very, very consistent. Heritage walls and very basic materials that are, indigenous to this area, and kind of creating our own language behind the walls here. So I'll go through because I do want to just concentrate more on the Coco site, which is a little later in this deck. Actually, I can go to this one, and then Michael, that's going to be yours. So when we go to the site, you'll notice this in the key plan. Let me zoom out a little bit. In the key plan, this is the St. Andrews Road intersection. Coco's was a small building in the center here. What we're designing here is about 46,000 square feet. There's about 10 to 15,000 square feet of retail space in the front here that'll face Route 9. Planning board asked us to take advantage of the space or get as close to Route 9 as possible. They're not as happy with the parking in the front of these buildings. Would prefer parking behind and have more of a presence on Route 9. So that's our goal here. We've created a relatively indigenous design for this space here. Just gable-ended retail space. In the front here, you're not going to be accessing it from the front. You're going to go around to the back, and I'll show you a rendering of that. And the maintenance building behind here, I want to point out, is not this tall. We have some elevations that I can show you. This was not rendered the way it should be a little bit lower than that. But that being said, as you work your way down Route 9, there'll be this presence here on the retail side. And then when you go around the back, we have our parking isolated here for the retail space, and this will be the entryway to the retail. And it's going to be leased to probably a marketplace of some kind, something that has to do with the Culinary Institute and related somewhat to the development overall. There's another building here in the back of our parking area. That's another thing I think, Michael, you'll get more into here. But this is our valet parking for the rest of the site. That kind of took away that stacked parking that we had, which none of us really liked. So this allows us to take advantage of of the space to accommodate the needs from the code. This building will be a teaching kitchen and a vertical hydroponic farm, which is another thing that the Culinary Institute is very, very involved with, and it's just be an amenity for not only the people that are at the development, but an opportunity for teaching kitchen use. These are the elevations I was just referring to, so you can kind of see that front building, this is the retail space, and the building behind is not that much taller than the other building, all within code. This building's about 34 feet. We're allowed to go to 40. Here, we've already discussed a lot of this with the fire departments, and all within, as of right, design setbacks and building heights.
Okay. Yeah, we're sorry we're going so quick. We're assuming most of you are familiar with the project. If not, you'll see the application that was provided to the planning board with all the additional studies and all the renderings that Michael just mentioned, and the architectural plans are in that application for any of you that just want to get up to speed on it. We also knew you had a very long agenda, so we wanted to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Just to give you, just to bootstrap a little bit of what Michael had talked about, the planning board is continuing as the lead agency under their jurisdiction for the project. Having gone through this process already for a year and a half or 2 years with the planning board and your board with respect to some other zonings, we had a pretty good idea of what additional studies we need to show under SECRA to demonstrate that the amendments that are being done would not generate or result in any new adverse significant impacts. That was our standard, SECRA standard. So we've been meeting with many of the technical agencies, DEC, Department of Transportation, SHPO, and all the rest, Army Corps of Engineers, the fire districts, the FDR, the different conservation, as well as some of the staff and some of your people for the board, to just at least get ahead of this and to prepare our technical studies. So just to go down very briefly, I mean, most of the ways this is the same project. There'll be no new wetland encroachments in this project, no new archaeological historic sites impacted, no new endangered species, no new lighting impacts, small increase in sewer that'll be handled by the existing system, no new road improvements, no objections or objection responses from the FDR, the Conservancies, or the fire districts. So I only say this to show that what we're talking about, we think is going to make the project better without creating any new adverse significant impacts pursuant to SECRA. Now, the reason we're before you, specifically the zoning map, is this. If I could. So, for those of you that are not familiar with this, this is the Marici Kill. So everything north of the Marici Kill everything in this line is CIA owned and has been undeveloped. They've been trying to develop it since 2011. They had a project in a hotel resort that went through the approval process and never was built. The blue, dark blue, is all SAD district, SAD, that was created specifically by the town board for the Culinary Institute years ago. This area, the light blue, was again added later on and is part of the Culinary Institute, but was zoned Corridor Business District, as is this light gray, which is the cocoa parcel, the outline of the cocoa parcel, and then a little bit here that I'll mention. This is another area, but this whole area was considered commercial business, or is zoned commercial business. When we did the amendments, we added a couple of the villa units here. And because, as you know, you did a zoning amendment to define these as St. Andrew Village Lodging, that was only under the SAD, the SAD. So it makes sense to have this light blue area rezoned to SAD. Also, there's other resort. This is the parking Michael mentioned, the surface parking. That's going to be all valet parking for the project. So we thought that should also be in the SAD district, as well as there are the teaching kitchens that will be part of the project. So for all those reasons, as we explained in the petition, zoning petition, we're asking for a zoning amendment to rezone this from the commercial business to the SAD. On the other hand, we left this in the commercial business because, for a number of reasons. One, if this was rezoned to SAD, this light gray area, you would not be able to redevelop the Cocos air, because you'd have the 150-foot buffer to Route 9 under the SAD. SAD zoning requires a 150-foot no development buffer along Route 9. And for all practical purposes, we're just replacing that already developed area here under the SAD. The other is you have zoning setbacks and some of the parcels here that if this was SAD, would be a 100-foot buffer in this area. You also have in your zoning something called a scaling, a total general square footage restriction. If we had this area in this, it's a 65,000 on any lot that is a CB. If we combine these two lots, we'd be way over the 65,000 square foot. But more importantly, this will also have some retail, and there's no retail permitted in the SAD district. So it made sense to keep this in the CB district, whereas will all be resort-related uses, and make that part of the SAD. We're also doing a subdivision. This area, by the way, is already merged. This is already one parcel under the prior approval. So it's already part of the resort parcel. We are merging the two under a subdivision parcel, not changing the zoning, but merging it so that you don't have setback restrictions between these, because they're all owned by the CIA. Again, as I said before, this will continue to be this land owned by the CIA, and will just be part of the master ground lease that the resort has. So that is our ask. We realize again that you can't take any action before they're done with SECRA. We would request that we contemplate that the county will issue their review within the next 30 days on the application, and we anticipate that the planning board will be sending you a recommendation, since this zoning was worked out with them as part of just aligning all the amendments and uses with the particular zoning. We would ask that if perhaps you would consider opening the public hearing on this at your next meeting. Again, you can't take any formal action until the planning board completes their secret review, which we anticipate won't be that long in the future, in light of, we've been through the process with them. You'll see in the application, for those of you that go through the stack of studies that I've just mentioned, we've done updated studies on all those issues that I mentioned, all the wetlands, all the endangered species, all the traffic counts were part of the information we gave those agencies when we met with them to review the amended site plan. So, any questions? I know you have a long agenda behind us, but we're happy to take.
Just a quick one.
Yeah,
Text
go.
amendment then the planning board has the proposed text amendment that you're going to be submitting?
Yes, they do.
Thanks.
And that,
It-
the teaching kitchen, that's not going to be anywhere deemed educational now?
No, no,
It'll be part of the
amenity.
lodging, educational lodging, which is all in the SAD zoning, all permitted under the SAD zoning.
And not-
Educational and
And
lodging.
not educationally exempt?
It's not being necessarily targeted as an exclusive education use. It's an education and lodging use, which are both permitted in the SAD. And really, the whole resort is that. I mean, there's going to be plenty of teaching and classes going on between the CIA and joint programming between the resort and the CIA.
So this will be like the remainder of the NRI project, it will be taxable?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is fully on the tax rolls.
I need that
That's
right.
what I was asking.
We've already worked out with, we're,
Just the
It's
teaching kitchen.
It's teaching you
I thought
how
you
to
were-
cook.
oh,
Not-
that was
not
your point.
students.
I missed
Well,
it,
no,
I'm
I
sorry.
took one of the classes inside culinary, so, you know.
It's all part of the resort.
So the area where Coco's was, that's going to be retail / facilities and maintenance. What's the square footage between the both? Between the two of them?
The retail space is going to be about 14,000 square feet in the front, and then another 30,000 behind that, on 2 levels.
But the
And then you
maintenance is
have
alongside.
parking.
What's that?
The maintenance is the one that's going to be the long on side.
Exactly, yeah.
And how many
Yeah.
square feet is that?
That's about 30,000 square feet.
So it's going to
50.
remain a maintenance building?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Back
part,
of the house.
it's part of the use, the cafeteria for employees and such. It's an operational building in the back. It'll receive all the big trucks will deliver here. They won't have to go on campus. It's our kind of distribution center. It'll be our main,
Like coolers and all that stuff?
all
in
that,
there?
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
The whole idea was to keep traffic and trucks off, in the resort, and to just like, that's going to be all valet parking, the surface parking, and keep all deliveries in the back there.
So there's not a light there. So is it going to be the tractor trailers trying to get into the side there?
Well, yeah, they'll be entering at the St. Andrews
Oh.
intersection.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
go,
okay.
they go
Right.
into
Oh, yeah.
our, yeah.
We're getting rid of that
Rid of the
curb
curb
cut.
Gotcha.
We're
nobody's
eliminating that
entering
curb cut. We
off the
worked that
Route
out
9
with the
and-
DOT. They were very happy that we eliminated that curb cut.
Yeah, everybody enters here and goes behind.
Okay.
And we worked out with the fire districts, access, turnage, radii, all those issues that, up front.
I did you a favor.
What?
I'll tell you later.
Going first was a big favor. Appreciate that.
I
Thank
bet.
you.
Caught us
Crossed
off,
it.
totally off guard, but it was nice. Thank
It's
you.
all right.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Thank you
quick
very
enough.
much.
Thank you.
Any chance to schedule the public hearing? Is that something you could do tonight,
No,
or?
we can't do it till we introduce we have to have a resolution of introduction and the whole business. So once we get that, then we'll schedule the public hearing.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, if you think of it, just forward me the text amendment, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Which one's that? This is more. So, what's this one? Oh, that's just going to be a continuation. Yes, okay. All right. Greg, want to make some acknowledgements here? We're going to go through a couple of quick acknowledgements. I don't think they're here tonight, but we're going to do it anyway, just so it's on the record.
Three of them are the same. First Amendment this evening. First acknowledgement, thank you. Certificate of Appreciation. This award is to Brady Doherty of Boy Scout Troop 37. The town of Hyde Park would like to recognize the hard work and commitment in the designing and building of the fire pit and woodshed at the Hackett Hill Park. We would like to personally thank you, as well as your generous donation of the materials you supplied to complete this project. He is not here, and this is to be put on record.
It's for Eagle Scout.
Same recognition, certificate of recognition awarded to Brady Doherty for receiving the highest honor of Eagle Scout with the Boy Scouts of America Troop 37. That is a outstanding honor. John Fells, are you here?
Shy guy.
Certificate of Appreciation. This is an award to John Fells, Beech Tree Landscaping. The town of Hyde Park would like to recognize and thank you for the harvest decorations at the town hall and throughout the town of Hyde Park. Thank you very much.
Okay. Did this one. So, local law 1, public hearing, petition from attorney Warren Lepansky to reconsider the petition to receive comments in accordance with the requirements of the law. So just opening this.
Does it make a motion?
Have a motion to open?
So moved. Second.
You want to have Warren come up?
He's already up. Just take a vote.
Oh, gee. Like a ghost came up.
Just take a vote.
Oh, can the
You got a second?
clerk take a, yeah, I got a second.
Okay.
Do I need a roll call?
Yeah.
Can take a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Prime.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Campus.
Aye.
Councilman Frusikowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Okay, Warren, it's all you.
Thank you. Is this on or off?
That's on.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor Torgiani and members of the town board. My name is Warren Raplansky. I'm an attorney with offices located in Rhinebeck, New York. I'm also the attorney for the town of Rhinebeck. I also had the good fortune to represent the town of Hyde Park for several years before being substituted by Mr. Barnett.
Can you use that microphone? Yes.
Yeah, is this better?
You just
Pull it a little closer to you.
Okay, I'm not good with microphones.
There you go.
I'm appearing this evening on behalf of three of your residents, Kelly Jennings, Shannon Lasher, and Tess Lampert, who have filed a petition seeking prohibition of the proposed access roads for Six Senses Hudson Valley Resort pursuant to local law number 1 of 2025 enacted by this town board. In addition to the original petition and the exhibits annexed thereto, my clients have filed a supplementary petition dated May 23rd, 2025, which specifically addresses the numerous ways in which the proposed access roads and other development on the 8.4-acre parcel within the town of Hyde Park and the Hyde Park's Greenbelt zoning district violates the criteria you have imposed on Hyde Park property owners seeking a prohibition of the use of the Hyde Park property for construction of driveways, 2 new bridges, and 2 new bridges over Crum Elbow Creek, which will provide the sole access to and from this large-scale hotel resort development. As you know, in April of 2025, certain residents of the towns of Hyde Park, Clinton, Rhinebeck, and the community group Common Senses Hudson Valley, as well as the adjoining town of Rhinebeck, have filed an hybrid Article 78 petition seeking annulment of local law number 1 of 2025 in the Dutchess County Supreme Court on 13 separate grounds, which include, but were not limited to, that the local law number 1 constituted illegal spot zoning, and that there was no valid basis or grounds for the passage of this local law except to advance the proprietary interest of CECNY. 2, that the town board, in enacting local law number 1, failed to comply with the procedural and substantive requirements of seeker, in that it properly designated the local law as an unlisted action rather than a type 1 action, and conducted absolutely no environmental review of the impacts of local law number 1. Also, it is alleged that the local law violated the seeker prohibitions on segmentation, and that the local law constituted an invalid exercise of the town's police powers, in that, among other things, the law imposes an unconstitutional and illegal, heavy, if not impossible, burden of proof on Hyde Park residents to demonstrate that the proposed use offends public morals or endangers or injures the property, health, or safety of residents of the town of Hyde Park. And further, that the law provides no clear framework or criteria for determining when access should be permitted or restricted in any given case. Also, the local law violates the town's comprehensive plan, in that it will permit the development in the town's Greenbelt zoning district, which has been determined by the town to be an irreplaceable asset of the town, in which large-scale development is discouraged, and which hotels, conference centers, and resorts of the sort that's being proposed by Six Senses CENY are prohibited, and will permit the development of access roads and bridges to service the large-scale commercial development in the town of Clinton. All of this is specifically prohibited by the town of Hyde Park zoning code and violates also the rules of uniformity. Supervisor Torgiani candidly admitted during the public hearing for this law that it was enacted to settle the lawsuit filed against the town by CECNY. Further, the action challenges and seeks to overturn the so-ordered stipulation of settlement, which in itself constituted illegal contract zoning, in that, among other things, the town board acted beyond the scope of its authority by negotiating and contracting with CECNY to settle the Article 78 petition brought by CECNY for the sole purpose of permitting the commercial resort development both in the towns of Hyde Park and Clinton. Further, it is alleged in the petition that the stipulation improperly overrides a prior determination by your own zoning administrator that the Hyde Park zoning and the Hyde Park zoning Board of Appeals, which after the conduct of a full public hearing upheld the zoning administrator's determination that the proposed driveway and bridges located in town of Hyde Park violated the town of Hyde Park zoning code, its comprehensive plan, as well as well-established decisional law in the state of New York that use of lands in one zoning district for an access road to property in another district is prohibited where the road would provide access to uses that would themselves be barred if located in either zoning district, and this principle has been applied to land straddling municipal borders. You might recall that during the public hearing on the passage of the enactment of this law, the overwhelming majority of residents of the town of Hyde Park who spoke were in opposition to the local law. The law was also roundly criticized by Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, as well as Hyde Park's own Conservation Advisory Council, in a 10-page report, which we have annexed to the petition, expressing concerns about the adverse environmental impacts which would result if the proposed local law was enacted in order to, and this is their wording, greenlight the CECNY resort project. Significantly, the Hyde Park's Conservation Advisory Council stated that by approving this local law, the Hyde Park Town Board may be viewed complicit and derelict of responsibility as a result of subsequent impacts on Hyde Park residents due to increased traffic, erosion and sediment control, water quality, including groundwater source, and impacts on the regulated AT trout stream from Elbow Creek. Additionally, they noted that there would be impacts on regulated state federal wetlands, impacts on floodway and floodplain zones, and impacts on biodiversity and habitat continuity. The local law was also roundly criticized by Scenic Hudson, an environmental advocacy organization located in Poughkeepsie, and they spoke against adopting this local law. Given the pending challenges to local law number 1 by the 3 residents of the town who own or reside in property in the Greenbelt zoning district, we have submitted, in addition to their petition, a supplemental petition in May of 2025, demonstrating to the best of their ability that the proposed access roads and bridges providing ingress and egress through Hyde Park to and from the proposed Six Senses resort offend public morals and/or endanger the property, health, or safety of the residents of the Hyde Park, town of Hyde Park. That is the virtually impossible bar that you have set for the residents of this community to object to this project. However, these petitions have been submitted with full reservation of rights and without any admission or acknowledgement that local law number 1 and its criteria are legal and enforceable. So we reserve the right to protest this local law, even though we're appearing before you in an attempt to urge the board to deny the use of these access roads and bridges to the resort in the town of Clinton, because we don't want to be accused of failing to exhaust our administrative remedies. In addition, I point out to the board that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board has assumed the role of lead agency. The Town of Clinton Planning Board has assumed the role of lead agency for seeker review of the entire action and has designated this as entire project as a type 1 action under seeker, for which there is a presumption that the project will have one or more significant environmental impacts, which will require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. The Town of Hyde Park Town Board, as well as the Hyde Park Planning Board, have been named and accepted their roles as involved agencies for this project, and pursuant to seeker regulations, the Hyde Park Planning Board and the Hyde Park Town Board may not take any final action on that portion of the applications before them, including this determination pursuant to local law number 1, until such time as Hyde Park has undertaken and completed its coordinated seeker review of the action. It is for this reason that we respectfully request the town board to keep this public hearing open and to allow for further public comments based upon the findings and documentation and studies that are provided during the course of the Clinton Planning Board seeker review of this project, which is not due to commence until October 27th, 2025. At this stage of the review of the action, we only have concepts of the entire project including the bridge construction, which proposes to convert a very small-scale holistic dude ranch to a large-scale commercial resort. Based upon our limited knowledge of the details of this project to date, it appears that this will be a year-round facility containing 65 lodging facilities, accommodating approximately 240 guests nightly, with the employment of 150 employees, with many living on site. 5 of the existing buildings on site, we believe, will be removed as part of the development proposal, with 4 buildings relocated and 2 buildings expanded. Approximately 27 new buildings will be constructed on the site and will include 11 guest rooms. Admittedly, most of this construction will take place on the Clinton side of the property, which is adjacent to the Hyde Park property. But it still it results in a severe, we believe, environmental impact. The resort will also include dining and kitchen facilities, wellness facilities, spa and fitness facilities, several swimming pools, pool houses, bars, offices, and operational buildings. Several new parking areas are proposed to be constructed, and wastewater and water supply treatment facilities servicing the resort will be constructed. The resort also, according to the plans as we know them to date, also plans to hold wedding parties and other similar events with guest numbers possibly exceeding 240 guests a night. Property is located in an extremely environmentally sensitive area with the presence of multiple endangered species on the property, including the Blandings turtle and Indiana bat. Project contains state and federal wetlands and is located in a 100-year flood zone. Crum Elbow Creek, which is sure to be impacted by this action, is a protected AT stream, and the property contains important historical, archaeological, agricultural, and aesthetic resources. We are supplementing the petition tonight with a report from Hudsonia, and I'm not sure whether you have it, but we have a copy for you. And I made several copies for the other board members, which is a well-respected not-profit institute for research and education in the environmental sciences, which does not take adversary positions for or against any development proposals. The report, which was commissioned by the Clinton Planning Board, contains findings including the confirmation that the property contains a major Blandings turtle habitat, which we believe is located also in Crum Elbow Creek. Even during the brief reconnaissance performed by Hudsonia, species of special concern and species of greater conservation were observed on the site. Notably, the report documents that this application has already showed contempt for this sensitive land, documented by photographs of a large refuse dump and a small soil pile of recent origin dumped directly into the wetlands on the property, which is a potential violation of local law and DEC rules and regulations. This report by Hudsonia speaks directly to the risks involved in allowing this massive project in and adjacent to the environmentally sensitive Greenbelt zoning district. The citizens of Hyde Park have been burdened with what might fairly be characterized as an unreasonable, if not impossibly high bar in having to demonstrate that the construction and use of this road within the town's Greenbelt zoning district offends public morals and/or endangers the property, health, or safety of the residents of the town of Hyde Park. We believe that is because the local law was actually drafted by Mr. Stenger on behalf of CECNY. Notwithstanding that fact, we firmly believe that in the petition and the supplement to the petition, we have demonstrated that this proposed project and its roads and bridges crossing Crum Elbow Creek offend public morals and endanger or injure the property, health, or safety of the residents of the town of Hyde Park. Critically, the extensive harms we have already identified are based merely on concepts of this project. To this day, the applicant has not provided final, detailed engineering plans for the road or the bridges or the stormwater management systems, and this failure alone to provide basic, essential information makes it difficult to fully quantify the extent of the harm. But the harm we can identify is already more than enough to require you to deny this application. The proposed roads offend public morals. As was detailed in the supplemental submission, this term in this context must be understood to mean actions that violate the community's collective sense of right, conduct, or create a substantial interference with the exercise of a common right of the public. The project interferes with several common rights of the public. First of all, it interferes with the common right to a healthful environment, a right guaranteed by our state constitution, and as we will detail, this project will knowingly degrade the town's shared air and water. An action that deliberately harms these essential common resources for private gain is a clear offense to the public's moral and legal rights. Second, this project contradicts the community's established values as expressed in the town's comprehensive plan. That plan, developed with extensive public input, designates the Greenbelt District as an irreplaceable asset where large-scale development is discouraged. To ignore this foundational public agreed-upon value system for a project of this scale would certainly violate the community's collective sense of right conduct. Finally, it offends public morals to ask for approval for a project of this magnitude without providing final detailed plans, and this lack of transparency and rush to a decision without the necessity of information for a proper review is an offense against the public's right to a fair and fully informed review and approval process. For these reasons, the application fails the first prong of your local law number 1. It is clear also that the proposed roads and project injure property health and safety. Even more concretely, the application fails the second prong of the law in that the proposed project proposes construction in and over the vital Crum Elbow Creek watershed. This is a protected Class AT stream and Blanding's turtle habitat. The construction of impervious asphalt roads and new bridges will introduce a toxic cocktail of contaminants, construction debris, vehicle fluids, and road salt, which will run directly into our waterways, directly harming the residents and wildlife downstream. The construction will destroy wetlands and natural buffers, reducing the natural flood control capacity of the land. This is not a theoretical risk, as our petition clearly states. The project itself is located in a FEMA 100-year, 500-year flood hazard zone. This project will knowingly increase the risk of flooding and property damage for every resident living downstream. This is not a quiet driveway, no matter how many times CECNY uses the term. This is a large-scale commercial road infrastructure being injected into an environmentally sensitive rural residential area. The visual intrusion, the constant traffic, the noise, and the loss of wildlife will destroy the peaceful enjoyment of properties and will negatively impact property values. It will also directly harm the recreational use of this land for fishing, hunting, birding, and observing nature that Hyde Park residents currently cherish. Secondly, the project poses a direct and unacceptable risk to the safety of our drinking water. The applicants have stated that they plan to discharge their treated wastewater directly into Crum Elbow Creek. As the petition notes, even if this wastewater meets current safety standards, those standards are known to be inadequate in addressing the pervasive issue of pollutants such as pharmaceutical residues and microplastics. As we sit here, new concerns and standards are being devised to address and prevent these harms, yet the roads will exacerbate them without any guardrails. The applicant's own proposal calls for 240 guests and 150 employees daily, plus service vehicles and large-scale events. This massive constant traffic will cause higher emissions of air pollutants like PM2.5, exacerbating respiratory illnesses, especially for children and the elderly. The constant elevated noise pollution is not just an annoyance, it is a documented public health issue linked to sleep disturbances, stress, and cardiovascular problems. The project also results in a direct public safety emergency in that, the project also will result in traffic hazards on Route 9G, where this stretch of Route 9G traffic will be funneled into an already frequent scene of serious traffic accidents, including injuries and fatalities. Only 2 weeks ago, there was a fatality, I believe in the town of Clinton on 9G in this area, of a motorcycle colliding with a horse, both deceased. To add to this volume of commercial resort traffic is a knowing and willful endangerment to the safety of every resident who drives the road. The amount of traffic that will be generated is highlighted by the fact that DOT is requiring construction of a left-hand turn lane into this project. Finally, and perhaps most critically, Hyde Park residents are commonly in a New York State designated, Hyde Park residents are in a New York State designated disadvantaged community. This is a formal designation. It means that your residents here already bear disproportionate burdens of negative public health effects, environmental pollutions, and impacts of climate change. This burden is between 80 and 90% higher than tracks statewide. As a board, you have a heightened duty to protect this community, and approving a project that will cause or increase a disproportionate environmental burden is a direct endangerment to the well-being of the community. For all of these reasons, and I believe reasons that will be expanded during the environmental review of this project, we ask that you deny CECNY the right to access this facility through the town of Hyde Park Greenbelt zoning district over the 8.5 acre parcel that's located in their town. I thank you so much for listening to all of this. Do you have any questions for me? No. Okay. And
Just, Warren, if you just want to give up whatever you've got to Sarah here, so this way we can.
do you want
taste it.
The stuff you wanted to pass to the town board.
do you want the Hudsonia report?
Yes,
No,
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
I'll give it.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh,
He knows.
So you want me to go to this part and this part?
thank you.
Yes.
I'll just put that in my file. Thank you very much.
No, I would go to Ken first.
Mr. Stanger, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to see a copy of that Hudsonia report, though, if that's possible. I haven't seen it. We have exhibits here that will be distributed, and we will make sure that, well, thank you. I have it.
So Ken, can you put your name and who you represent on the record?
Yes, I can.
Who's with you?
Okay. My name's Kenneth M. Stenger. I represent CECNY here. In opposition. Okay. Can we get those exhibits circulated?
And we got 4 copies.
I'm sorry, Mr. Supervisor. I trust that everyone can hear me now.
Yes, sir.
My name's Kenneth M. Stenger. I am an attorney, and I represent CECNY. And I think everybody in this room, including those behind me, know that. I'm here this evening to present to you hard facts and evidence, not opinions, not speculation, not conjecture, not wishful thinking, but hard facts. And based upon those hard facts, I'm going to ask you to deny the petition that has been properly brought by the people who brought it under the provisions of Local Law Number 1 of 2025. But before I do that, there's a few things that I have to address that were just presented to you. One is really easy to address. Well, first, why don't I just go through what you're getting in the exhibits?
You know what, let's just, this is going to be, why don't we, Mr. Stenger, let's get your exhibits, have them handed out, so you're not chatting while folks
That's
are
what we want to do. It's very simple.
moving around.
The boxes contain all the submissions to the Town of Clinton Planning Board. They're going to go into the record. We have a flash drive of that, which I'm going to give to Mr. Raplansky. You have a stapled binder of information, which is presented with a cover letter. It includes everything we want to put into the record tonight, including the expert opinion of 5 different experts who have studied this site and will offer you their opinion that the allowance of CECNY to continue to use the access that is at issue tonight will cause no harm or injury to any citizen of the town of Hyde Park or any property owned by any citizen within it. But before I do that, I'd like to just take a moment and give a copy of all this to my colleague. There's a flash drive in there, as I said, so Warren will have a copy of the submissions we made to the town of Clinton, and I'll have a full, complete history of that. Now, I just want to look briefly at this. Hudsonia report, hang on a second. And I would like to object to it going into the record. This Hudsonia report, when you look at it, was dated May 25 of 2024. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm just looking to see, it's not signed by anybody. And there's nobody from here, from Hudsonia, to talk about it. Perhaps it's not objection that I raise here, but my objection goes not to its availability to you to look at and read and study, but my objection goes to the weight of it. It wasn't prepared for this petition. It was prepared more than 18 months ago. It's not signed by anybody. Tonight, we've got the experts here who you can listen to, because they will talk to you about what they saw when they went and studied. Hudsonia report stays in, but I ask you to give it very little weight. Now I have to correct a misstatement made by Mr. Raplansky right at the beginning of this application. The current access, the proposal of new access, does not involve the construction of 2 new bridges, as Mr. Raplansky stated right at the beginning of his presentation. There is currently, and has been in use for the past 20 years, servicing the conference center at the Town of Clinton location, a road driveway with a bridge. There is now proposed a second bridge and a second entryway, which is proposed as an emergency access only, as proposed and requested and approved by NYSDOT. I think that's an important fact, and I think the importance of that mistake should not be lost on this board as we go through this presentation. The last thing before, and I'm sorry to deal with all of this, but The last thing here that I want to say is I want to speak on the request to keep the public hearing open. Now, this public hearing was scheduled at the request of Mr. Raplansky. His clients filed the petition. His clients and he should be prepared tonight to put their proof on the table. I know my client is. Now, we do agree that your board should wait until the secret proceedings in the town of Clinton planning process are concluded before you move on this application one way or the other. We do share that, but that wasn't, and if you were to say, we would like to hold this public hearing open until that is concluded so that we can make those findings part of our record when we make our final decision, I think that's appropriate. And I would say on behalf of CEC and Y, we would join in that application, and to the extent that Mr. Raplansky's request posits that extension, we would join in it. But we do not join in the wholesale idea that after tonight, somebody can read the materials that we brought in, go out and shop an expert, come back here in 60 days and start this all over with. This is a public hearing. The people who filed the petition scheduled it for tonight. They are prepared as best they can be, I assume, and we are as well. And so I think in terms of random public input, that should close tonight. But we do agree that your ultimate decision ought to await the conclusion of the secret process in the town of Clinton Planning Board. Now, having gotten rid of those preliminaries, let me go back to my quick opening comments so that we can get back on track. But I had to address those issues. So, look, this is what you have in front of you. Well, this is a petition under local law number 1. And this petition and the findings you make are going to be governed and determined in accordance with the provisions of that statute. Now, before we go further, I've introduced myself. I have not introduced Kelly Leibolt. Kelly Leibolt is from KARC Consultants. She has headed up the team that has done the development work over in the town of Clinton and the development work within the town of Hyde Park, particularly the application presently pending with respect to the construction of the single new bridge. And I'd like to also introduce to you this fairly thick packet of documents. That has a cover letter on top of it, which you'll be very happy to hear. I'm not going to read to you. It's got my signature on it. You can read it. But attached to it is every document that we are going to present to you this evening to make it part of the record of this hearing. And I think of the most important thing here is that within this document, and cited in my letter, there are expert testimony from 5 different experts who have studied that site in conjunction with the application before the town of Clinton Planning Board and have otherwise studied that site. And their reports are included in this section. And every one of those reports, so you'll hear from Carrie Dooley, who talks about treatment of wastewater, will say that has no impact on anyone in the town of Hyde Park. You'll hear from Rodney Morrison, who is the chief engineer in charge of that application. He will talk to you about drainage. There's particularly drainage impact on the stream, and he will tell you that has no impact. You'll hear from Ken Westard, who is the Creighton Traffic, who will tell you he's studied it out there, and that will have this approval or rejection of this petition will have no impact on traffic. You'll hear from John Jackson. Actually, you won't hear from John Jackson, but you'll hear from his report through Ken Westard, who's going to tell you that there is no sound impact arising from the denial of this petition. You know, and the one person you're also going to hear from, or through Rodney Morrison, you're not going to hear from him, but you have his report, is a fellow named Michael Fishburne. And Michael Fishman is a certified wildlife biologist. He's not an organization like Hudsonia. He's someone who went out there and studied the site. And his report is also provided to you. And his report says, look, there's no fragmentation of the ecosystem arising from the denial of this petition. There's no impact on fish migration arising from the denial of this petition. And there is no impact on pollinators arising from the denial of this petition. Those folks you'll hear from. I think, though, to wrap up my part of this, the lawyering part, I just want to take a second to just touch base on the law. What we've just heard is an attack on the law. That's an argument that's being made in Supreme Court, but that's not the purpose of the proceedings this evening. The proceedings this evening is to apply that law. And we would say to you, that if we look at Section 2A, the last sentence of the first paragraph, has a sentence that this law will not apply to any existing use. And we take the position that the road that is there, the driveway that is there, the bridge that is there, that has serviced the conference center in the town of Clinton for the past 20 years is a use that exists. And that the construction of a second bridge with a second driveway for emergency access purposes does not change that circumstance, that collectively they do constitute an existing use. And we would argue, to reserve on the record, that because of that circumstance, that use is outside the scope of the statute and the petition that's authorized for it. However, we are here to argue, however, we also are here to bring to you a record that will demonstrate that a denial of this petition will not offend the morals of the people of the town of Hyde Park, and nor will it cause damage to any citizen of the Hyde Park or injury to their property or otherwise violate this statute. It's important, I think, that we keep track of what the law that was adopted by this town says. If we get past the first part about the issue of, if when you deliberate, we get past the first part about the fact that what we have there already exists, we get to the second part. And the measure for the second part is that in order to grant this petition, you must find, based upon the facts of this record, not about, I think it's going to be, it will be, it shall be, but facts, hard, cold facts, that the use occurring or proposed to occur on the lot in a different municipality offends public morals, or it endangers or injures the property, health, or safety of residents in the town of Hyde Park. Incidentally, the language in the second part of the statute tracks what is commonly known as a public nuisance. And within these materials, you see some legal arguments that will suggest to you that in order to find for the petition, you would have to find that there's a factual basis to conclude that this use constitutes a public nuisance. So with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Kelly Leibold, who will handle the rest of this. I will come back at the end because there's one last argument I would like to make, but I think it's only better made after you've heard everything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'm Kelly Leibold with KARC Planning Consultants, and with me is Amy Argerakis of KARC Planning Consultants. Mr. Supervisor, we're just going to take a few minutes and give you an overview of the project because I believe that this town board has not had an opportunity. We understand it's a long meeting, but I'll be very brief. This project is located in both the town of Clinton and the town of Hyde Park. The portion that's in the town of Clinton is in the upper right-hand side. And that constitutes approximately 228 acres. The portion that is in the town of Hyde Park is in the lower left-hand side, and it's a very small area that constitutes approximately 8 acres. The two parcels constitute the project. Thank you. The portion of the project that is in the town of Clinton, as Mr. Stenger had indicated, is currently an existing conference center. And that conference center has existed on that property since 2005, so nearly 20 years ago. The applicant is seeking an expansion of that conference center use, and that application is before the Town of Clinton Planning Board, which is acting as the lead agency for the seeker review of this project. The portion of the project that is located in the town of Hyde Park, as Mr. Stenger has indicated, includes the driveway access. So as he had indicated, there is an existing driveway that is located in the town of Hyde Park, and we are proposing to reconfigure the location of that ingress-egress on 9W, or on 9G, and also introduce a new driveway and a new bridge that is required by the Town of Clinton Planning Board for emergency ingress and egress only. Just to give you an overview of the Six Senses project and the proposed conference center, this is a project that is a program-driven, oriented health and wellness facility. Programs include programs such as equine, various programs related to equine use, so yoga with equine or health and educational training with equine, programs that involve farming, nature, sustainability, community and social responsibility, history and culinary events that relate to the Hudson Valley, and will tie in many of the businesses in the Hudson Valley into their training programs, so very much immersing themselves into the community. Just to stay in the trees, no pun intended, and try to give you an overview of this project. Can you go back to the other one? So the area outlined in red, I know it's hard to see, but it might be easier on your PowerPoint presentation, constitutes the project. The entire holdings constitute 236 acres. Just to give you a perspective of the area that is currently developed, it constitutes 36 acres. So within those 36 acres, the applicant is proposing to expand the existing conference center use. We are, again, I just want to repeat that again, we are proposing to expand the existing conference center use within the area that is existing cleared and existing developed. We have done incredible amounts of studies and documentation and reports and analyses on this land. And we have done an extensive amount of grading and various civil engineering design. When we work with the Town of Clinton Planning Board, one of the things that they have asked us is, well, how much of this property are you going to newly develop? Are you newly going to clear? Are you newly going to disturb? And that area is 3.32 acres. So of 236 acres, they're expanding in 3.32 acres, which is 1.4% of the property. What we tried to provide for you, because again, we know that we're giving you a lot of information this evening, is just a visual comparison of what is on the site now and what we are proposing. So the top image shows the developed area for this project. And so it's predominantly cleared, and it's immersed inside of a heavily wooded property. The bottom image shows the proposed development. As you can see, the proposed development is to be located within the existing cleared areas and is a very de minimis and minimal impact to this property. So the work that's in the town of Hyde Park, the work involves, as I had indicated, very minimal improvements. On the northern end of the site, we are proposing to relocate the existing ingress-egress. So the existing driveway entrance, as Amy is showing there, is in the yellow, and that driveway enters the site and it crosses an existing bridge. We are proposing to relocate that entrance portion on 9G to the north. It provides better sight distance and more stacking for vehicles as they enter the site. On the southern portion of the site, we are proposing a new driveway, and that is solely for emergency vehicles only. And that new driveway and new bridge crossing is being required by the Town of Clinton Planning Board. Just to give you a visual perspective, we just wanted to give you, for those who may have not gone out to the site, this is the existing bridge, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. When the town of Hyde Park passed local law number 1, there was an obligation in the local law that we had to provide notice to the town of Hyde Park building inspector if we were going to be utilizing these driveways for the stated purpose. And so in March of 2025, We submitted our notice to the Town of Hyde Park building inspector, and the building inspector promptly noticed that letter on the town front doors, complying with the local law. Shortly thereafter, there was a petition that was submitted that you've just heard this evening, filed by Mr. Raplansky. We have reviewed the petition that was filed by Mr. Raplansky that he just provided to you, and we have identified each and every alleged concern that he raised in his petition. And in a few minutes, we'll provide our experts' review of each and every one of those concerns that he raised and identify that they are speculative at best. In addition to all the documentation that we've provided to you, so these are all the reports, studies, drawings, et cetera, that have been provided for this project, we also have been coordinating as required with the involved agencies for this project, and this is in coordination with the Town of Clinton Planning Board. One of those agencies is New York State DOT. And so to date, New York State DOT has reviewed numerous traffic studies and traffic designs, and they have provided us with correspondence, which is in your record, indicating, one, that they approve the location of the driveway entrances, and two, that they've conditionally approved the proposed project, which includes, as Mr. Raplansky had indicated, the southbound left turn lane. And so again, DOT has already reviewed and approved conceptually the drawings and reports that we provided. In addition, we've also received correspondence back from New York State DEC. And so New York State DEC is the agency that oversees the Crum Elbow Creek. And we have been provided with information from New York State DEC that indicates the effluent limits for the wastewater treatment plant. So what does this mean? When you start a project and you are designing a wastewater treatment plant that is going to discharge into a water source, that agency that's in charge of that water source is required to provide you with what your discharge limits need to be. And therefore, we work backward and we design the wastewater treatment plant to meet those limits. So we are not guessing at what we think the effluent limits are going to be. We are not ourselves designing what we think the effluent limits need to be. Those limits are provided by New York State DEC, and that is the agency that is responsible for regulating the Crum Elbow Creek. In addition, we have provided letters by your own town engineers. So I think Mr. Raplansky had indicated that we have not provided detailed designs and reports, and conceptual drawings at best have been provided. That is not the case. We have provided an extensive amount of reports and drawings, and in fact, your own town engineer, which is Renia Design, has provided a letter indicating that they have reviewed the stormwater, the water, and the sewage disposal systems. And Mr. Sotero states, in summary, after review of the water and sewer reports, it's my opinion that the water supply wells can provide the required project flow and will not have any impact on off-site wells. As a result, it is my opinion that the water supply for the project will not create any adverse environmental impacts. He further states, as a result of the above, it is my opinion that the sewage disposal system proposed for the project will not have any adverse impacts. And with respect to stormwater, he states, in summary, based on my review of the materials, it is my opinion that the stormwater management and erosion control measures for the project will not create any adverse environmental impacts. So this is your own town engineer has provided that correspondence. In addition, your own traffic consultant, so your the town engineer's traffic consultant, Hudson Valley Engineering, has reviewed the extensive amount of documentation that we provided and also provided as response letter. They've indicated that they've reviewed and offered comments on several iterations of the traffic evaluation. The assessment conforms to generally accepted methods and practices. The proposed driveway locations and function are appropriate. There's no significant accident history at the proposed site entrance. The estimated trip generation and distribution is reasonable based on the outline use of the property. Route 9G will continue to operate at a high level of service, LOSA. The site driveway will operate at acceptable levels of service. The proposed 9G southbound left turn lane will improve operation and safety at the entrance, and also that the New York State DOT has provided conceptual approval for the location and function of the driveways, along with the installation of a southbound left turn lane. So documentation, again, is in the files that we gave you. Further, we have coordinated with New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, and they have provided a letter confirming that this project will not result in any impact to any archaeological or historic resources. At this point, we're going to turn over to our experts, and we will have them come up and just speak to you about their review of the project and their summary and their conclusions. Who's first? First is Ken Worsted. So just a quick introduction. Mr. Worsted is a professional engineer with Creighton Manning. He has over 28 years' experience. He's a licensed engineer and specializes in traffic engineering and transportation planning. In addition, he is going to provide information related to Jeff Jackson, who wasn't able to be here tonight, who has completed a sound analysis of the site, and Jeff has over 28 years of experience specializing in sound level surveying, ambient sound monitoring studies. Ken. Oh, you have
Got one. Good evening. Again, Ken Worsted with Creighton Manning Engineering, the traffic consultant for this project. I won't reiterate the affirmation that Kelly had provided of my background, but I will go in to say that having reviewed this project, I don't believe that the construction and use as proposed of the access roads, the bridges, et cetera, will cause any property damage or negatively impact the health and well-being of nearby property owners or create safety issues for vehicles and pedestrians. And I think the concerns raised thus far are speculative and unsupported. How can I say that? Because I've gone through and studied the project, and I'll give you some Cliff Note versions of what we looked at, just for the sake of time. We have gone through and we counted traffic on Route 9G. We had looked at the proposed programming for this facility and the number of lodging accommodations, the programs that they're offering, and estimated how much traffic is coming to and from, this project. We had estimated, looking at the AM and PM peak hours, which are typically when traffic on 9G peaks, and we superimposed the traffic from this project onto those peaks and then analyzed, how the intersection works. I would note that our, estimate under typical conditions is between, say 25 and 50 trips in those peak hours, and I would argue that this room tonight generated an equivalent amount of traffic to what this project is going to generate on a typical day. Understanding that the program offered is going to vary by season and week and day to day, we had looked at two different conditions. One was kind of like a Monday through Wednesday, which was a little bit less attendance on the property, and then we looked at Thursday through Sunday. It's the weekend, it's more popular, there's going to be more people on the site. We had proposed to analyze those conditions, but through the town's review consultants, HVEA, they had suggested that there could be variability. So how did we accommodate that? We added a 1.5 times factor of safety, if you will, just to add some more conservativeness into this analysis. And we said if the analysis comes out all right, then great. Anything that happens at that level or below is going to be all right. We went through and analyzed that condition. We found that the driveway was going to operate at level service C. To give you a scale of that, level service A means very minimal delay. You're in and out very quickly. Level service F is poor. I'm sure you have that on some of the roads down here, particularly as we move further south towards Poughkeepsie. And this driveway, as a stop sign, no traffic light, was going to operate at level service C. So it's kind of right in the middle. Perfectly acceptable to DOT, to the review engineers, et cetera, for the level of traffic going in and out. There was some talk about crashes. To give some perspective on that, we did look at crashes over the course of 5 years. In about the 0.6 of a mile centered around this site, between 2020 and 2025 or 24, there was 9 crashes. Only one of those resulted in an injury, and 5 of those involved deer. It wasn't even involving another vehicle. And then there were a couple that, collided with a fixed object, whether that be a guide rail or a tree or something like that. So in large part, that is kind of our analysis that we had gone through to develop the traffic work for this. As Kelly had mentioned, it had been reviewed by HVEA, DOT, and they have gotten to a point where they're comfortable with the analysis, and they are ready for us to move into detailed design of all of the roadway and driveway, et cetera. There were a few comments that came back from the petitioner, namely about the access bridge and how it was going to increase flooding and choke down, I would presume, the Crum Elbow Creek. There's DEC and U.S. Army Corps of Engineer regulations that we need to follow. So we can't build a smaller bridge on that creek and make the stream get narrower. We have to either build the bridge up higher and wider so that the creek can just act naturally and go underneath that. And that's got to accommodate 50-year and 100-year storms. The road construction itself, there was a suggestion that it would increase PFAs. The asphalt would break down and introduce hydrocarbons into the soil and the groundwater. There is that potential, but the risk is minimal because PFAs in asphalt would typically come from a location where there has been use of that and has contaminated the asphalt, let's say at an airport, where firefighting foam was used to, either train or put out fires, et cetera. That asphalt got ground up and mixed in with some other clean asphalt, and then all that asphalt happens to show up at this project site. I think that risk is negligible, given how many miles of roads. It's about 2,400 miles in Dutchess County, and there's about 140 miles of road in the town of Hyde Park. So through the normal routine construction and maintenance of all the roads in this area, what is the risk of the road that we're building, 635 feet of road, let alone the 2,400 or the 140 miles of road being constructed or being maintained throughout the county. With that in mind, there was some discussion of air quality and some of the effects and higher emissions. Again, I think those are diminutive compared to the amount of traffic that's already in the town, the number of roads that are out there, et cetera. Overall, that kind of gives my overview of the traffic side of things.
Do you want to do Jeff's?
Sure.
Then? Yep.
Sure. Go ahead.
Mr. Jackson could not be here this evening, Jeff Jackson, and he is with GAI Consultants. Again, as I indicated, he has 25 years' experience in doing sound leveling, surveying, ambient sound monitoring studies. And so he had completed a sound analysis of this property. And as he is working underneath of a contract with Creighton Manning, Ken this evening is going to summarize and read his affirmation.
Changing hats into sound study. From Jeff Jackson, he holds a master degree in environmental engineering. He's been working for GEII for 28 years, and he's been doing sound studies for over 10 years. So his affirmation of the petitioner's submission was that the development and use of the site is not anticipated to significantly affect the acoustic environment surrounding the site. Sound level increases are unlikely to be greater than de minimis impacts and are not expected to disrupt the peace and tranquility of the Greenbelt District or negatively impact the quality of life for residents. Again, Cliff Note version of the sound study. Sound had been collected from various points across the site. They had looked at very centrally in the site, the northern property line and the southern property line, and two locations along Route 9G. What they had found is that the locations along 9G had a sound level of approximately 60 decibels. The location in the middle of the site and the northern and southern property areas were about 50 decibels. And all of this is detailed in their report, so I'm kind of generalizing a few things here. What does that mean? What are those levels in comparison to? So 50 would be the sound of a refrigerator. And I might argue that the sound of the overhead air conditioning right now is probably at about that level. 60 is about normal conversation. So let me take the mic away and just talk as we normally would. That's about 60 decibels. So going through across the site, they had identified what those levels were. They then took the amount of traffic that we were proposing in a day and plugged that into Route 9G. And they had identified the potential increase of about 0.1 to 0.3 tenths of a decibel. 0.1 to 0.3 decibels, right? The human ear has trouble detecting anything less than 3 decibels. So 3.0 may be detectable, anything below that unlikely, and they're looking at up to 0.3 of a decibel increase. They had also looked at the use of different areas across the site. There are some outdoor gathering spaces that potentially could be used for various size events. In some of the smaller areas, they had estimated a 30 to 35 decibel, sound level at the perimeter. So again, coming back to a soft whisper at that level. All the way up to the larger outside area that could accommodate more people for, an outdoor, conference or workshop. They had estimated that up to 50 decibels. So again, at the property line, near the road, that refrigerator level, let's say this overhead HVAC unit level. Now, mind you, if you're standing out by Route 9G and there's a source, 500, 600, 700 feet away that is at that level, the sound of Route 9G is going to be overpowering. That's what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear something at the other end. If Ken and I are sitting in this corner and we're talking at a soft whisper, and Kelly and Amy are in that corner of the room and they're talking normally, they aren't necessarily going to hear what we're talking about over here. Again, Cliff Notes, that is the summary of the noise study.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next is Rodney Morrison. I think he's certainly as equally well-known as Ken Worsted. He is owner of the LRC Group, has over 35 years' experience as a licensed engineer, specializing in land development. What are you going to do first?
I'll do mine, and then I'll cover Carrie and
Perfect. Okay.
Michael. Good evening, everyone. As Kelly said, Rodney Morrison, just a professional engineer in the state of New York. Just a little bit more information. I moved to Hyde Park, actually, in 1993, worked locally, then founded my firm with another individual, which was also located in Hyde Park at that time. Through all of these years, I have worked throughout the Hudson Valley, elsewhere, specifically in Northern Dutchess. I've raised 3 kids here, driven here, commuted on Route 9G almost every week, and all of that time. Recreated here. I feel I know the terrain, the surroundings, the local towns, the traffic flows, all of it quite well through all of that. Our firm is the lead civil design engineer for the project, paired with Kelly as lead planner. Under our umbrella are other specialized consultants, Ken being one that you heard from here, Carrie Dooley from MJ Engineering. They are specific to water and sewer systems design, that's their profession, and also Michael Fishman, as was mentioned earlier, a wetland biologist professional. Each of us were asked to create answers to questions, and interestingly, the theme was the same, even though none of us spoke with each other, but that'll come out when you read the actual documentation. I have used in my written language, more so than this affirmation summary, immeasurable impact to pretty much, or all of the things that might have been raised as potential concerns. Just to walk through some of this in more of a bullet form, and I'll try not to go full engineer on everybody here, just as a summary. First, the project site is properly designed for the handling of stormwater management.
Is properly
I'll do better. The project has been fully technically designed to manage stormwater for the developed site. As Kelly had indicated, that has been reviewed by the town's consultants, which is also the same firm that you use here. There is no basis for negative effects of the storm drainage systems as might be suggested. All of the runoff patterns have been mapped, studied, modeled. The interior streams are protected, so we've stayed away from those resources. Actually, the very first thing we did with the ownership of the current property is to help develop a project that stayed away from them, that was extremely minimal in nature, that had gravel roads, narrower gravel roads, and we worked for those to be incorporated into the project because that's the theme that the ownership would like to have. And I fully believe that certainly compared to things that I've seen in the past, I stepped foot on this property probably 10 years ago for 2 owners previous. So I have a fair amount of history on this specific piece of land. This project is being brought forward as the least impactful thing that a person could develop to have this end result, in my opinion. Erosion protection, it's all managed through the compliance with state code. Again, we have developed full drawings for that, as well as the stormwater. The bridge crossings have been talked about a fair amount, so I won't go into that again. But it is important to note, as Attorney Stanger said, there is one new bridge crossing proposed. The initial work to be done on the existing crossing, which Kelly showed a picture of here, is really realignment to cross the stream directly across, which it doesn't now. That bridge was rebuilt. There was an initial bridge that was damaged, that was designed and permitted through DEC with the help of the town here, Tad Moss in particular. That created a new bridge design that had new decking on it. It still sat at an angle, so we wanted to make it straight across to have be able to have a road crossing have the least impact in the surrounding lands. So that is designed into our project. Along the same lines, specific to the Hyde Park side, at the area of the emergency access crossing, there is an old dilapidated property that's coming down. That land is being restored, so that area that leads down into the stream creek corridor will become vegetation. On the existing bridge crossing, those lands had been used by previous ownership as storage, maintenance areas, I think maybe garbage disposal from what I've seen up in there. All of that disturbed land is going to get restored and allowed to go back to natural condition, which improves that immediate corridor. If I could then jump over to, who do I pick first? Kerry Dooley. Again, these people work as specialists under my firm. Kerry Dooley in particular, MJ Engineering, I know the firm, I know the work, and I fully support anything that has said in this affirmation and in her attached detailed letter. But again, as a summary, she is indicating that their firm is responsible for designing the water supply system and the sewer disposal system. Yes.
I can tell when you're fading because she's leaning more and more into you.
That's why.
Usually if I talk too much, Kelly hits me. That's kind of, yeah, no, that's the drill. I apologize. Again, their work is, they're specifically hired to design the water and sewer systems for the project. The water system, anytime when you can develop a public supply system, both for water and for sewer disposal in the form of a sewer treatment plant, is very much long-term the correct environmental choice to make. A sewer treatment system plant manages effluent and discharges that are normal for a home in a better manner, frankly, and can be adapted over time as new things are discovered in the groundwater, as where everybody is talking about with PFAS, for instance. She has indicated here that on a couple of different points, the water supply is very significant for the wells that exist on the property. Providing what would be needed for this development has shown they've been fully tested and there's no drawdown anywhere near the edge of the property, even to the adjacent wells. They are over, I believe, 2,000 feet from the property lines, so it's a very significant distance. For wastewater discharge, again, working through a treatment plant is by far the best way to do that. Ken had mentioned, I think everybody had mentioned, that we all know that the stream is a Class AT stream. It has the most stringent standards for discharge from the DEC, and everything that's designed will need to be done to meet those standards. I am very sure that in there will be provisions for expansion or amendment to those systems, considering everything the state has underway in the future. So she is affirming and stating within this letter that she anticipates there is no impact to the stream, the trout corridor, temperatures, or any of those issues. And let me then finally speak for Michael Fishman, the wetland biologist. Just a little more on him, and I'll read directly from here. I'll read in the first person. I am principal wildlife biologist, wetland scientist, regulatory specialist, as well as co-founder Edgewood Environmental Consulting. I've been an environmental consultant for 31 years, performing biodiversity surveys, delineating wetlands, and assessing environmental impacts of land use. I'm a certified wetland biologist, fellow of the Wildlife Society.
Can we just slow down a little bit? Certified wetland biologist. You read, you're doing 330 words a minute. Okay.
I am, again, speaking for him in first person, I am a certified wildlife biologist and fellow of the Wildlife Society and have been certified as a professional wetland scientist. I have served as president of both the New York State chapter and Northeast section of the Wildlife Society, as well as on the governing boards of the New York State Wetlands Forum, Northeast Bat Working Group, and North American Society for Bat Research. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Natural Resources with concentrations in wildlife and aquatic resources from Cornell, Master of Science degree in Conservation Biology from the State University of New York, Science and Forestry at Syracuse University. I reviewed the petition seeking prohibition of the proposed access road for Six Senses Hudson Valley. This affirmation incorporates my letter to the Town of Hyde Park Board dated October 20, 2025, which is attested and presents that review. And again, because I think some of his statements are particularly important, I'll work through his bullet points. Runoff from the construction of access roads will not significantly harm local ecosystems because runoff and potential erosion and sedimentation will be managed in compliance with New York State construction stormwater management regulations, similar to what I had said. The proposed access roads will not be in contact with the Crum Elbow Creek's substrate and will not interfere with its flow, chemistry, or thermal qualities because the proposed bridge crossings over the creek are designed as clear span bridges from bank to bank. There will be no disruption to fish migration, movement, or spawning because any minor tree clearing for construction will be offset by the shade provided by the bridge itself, and no part of the bridge will be in the water, so there will be no structures to impede fish movement or activity. There will be no fragmentation of local ecosystems, isolation of populations, limitation of genetic exchange, or increased vulnerability to local extinction by the access road because the project will ensure roads are constructed at existing grade without curbs, maintaining wildlife movement corridors. Also, interestingly, the project's impacts on pollinators are insignificant and will not affect agriculture or local food costs because the project's landscaping will focus on native plant species that may benefit some populators. The avoidance of pesticides and herbicides further ensure minimal impact on pollinator populations. And you will read in my personal affirmation, I answered a similar question with near verbatim information about the insertion of large banks of landscaping. They were not required. We're doing it for those purposes that he's citing in here. The project will not adversely affect ecosystem services such as water filtration, flood migration, flood mitigation, pest control, or pollination because the natural and planted vegetation, communities, and native soils would continue to filter stormwater and groundwater, maintaining water quality. So to finish with them, as described in more detail in my letter, the above measures are in compliance with state and federal regulations and will safeguard the ecological integrity of the site. And I apologize for reading for a different person, but we all have the very similar conclusion that everything, starting with the town of Clinton, specifically setback requirements for preservation, were all met by the project, willingly met by the applicant. The intent is to develop a property which is extremely low impact to the ground, and I believe that they've done it.
Thanks, Freddie.
Okay.
You have one more slide.
Hey, Ken?
We have one more slide.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Do we have it up? So thank you. What I promised you when I sat here before was that you would hear from experts putting facts on the record that you could consider in evaluating and making a determination on this petition based on the requirements of your statute. I've kept that promise. I also said at the end of this, I would show you something that would have bearing on the case. Remember what we said before. The proof of harm or injury has to be conclusive. It has to be concrete. It can't be speculation. You can't be so removed from it, it will only be theoretical. So I thought, and I asked the applicant to put together a little map to show how far these petitioners live from the site that they are raising complaints about. If you look on the screen there, you'll see that map. If you go to the handout that we've previously provided you with at the back end of the project is the fold-out map that will show you, it's the gray one, not the blue one, that will show you those distances. And if you look at it, I think you'll find it interesting. So, according to our work, petitioner number 1 lives 2.3 miles from the site. Petitioner number 2 lives 3.5 miles from the site. Petitioner number 2 owns 2 properties. Her second property is 8.3 miles from the site. And petitioner number 3 lives 6.7 miles from the site. Now, in another courtroom, we would say these folks don't have standing because they can't bring to you any evidence that they are affected by anything that's going to happen at that site or by allowing it to have access because of the distance. They're outside of what we would call the zone of proximity. That's a factual finding for you to make, but it's a fact that I wanted to bring to your attention before we closed out today. I want to thank you all very much for allowing us to go on a little longer than normal to bring these facts before you.
Kelly, can you do one thing for me?
Yes.
Because a lot of people they hear seeker, seeker, seeker. No one may really know what that is. Can you briefly explain what the seeker
Sure.
process will be that's going to go on in town of Clinton right now?
Absolutely. It's actually a process that's been ongoing, Mr. Supervisor. So SEEKR is the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and it's the law that is administered by New York State DEC, by which all development projects in New York State are judged. And there is a set of criteria that we have to comply with that outlines certain standards that we need to meet and certain thresholds that would constitute a significant impact of a project. This particular project has been classified by SEEKR as a Type 1 action merely because of the size of the underlying parcel. And in doing so, when an action is classified as a Type 1 action, there is one entity that reviews the project, so sort of the center of the circle. There are other agencies that are involved that are going to review this project, such as New York State DEC, New York State DOT, Office of Parks and Recreation. Those entities are called involved agencies, so they have some permit that is required for this project. However, the Town of Clinton Planning Board remains the agency that is required to review the project against the SEEKR standards, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And as required, we have provided the town of Clinton over a 2-year period various documents showing compliance with seeker, and that is which your town engineer, your traffic engineer, and the other agencies judge or review this project against. That project or process is ongoing. It has been going on for 2 years. There are several agencies like New York State DOT that are ready for us to commence more detailed design drawings, but they cannot move forward until the town of Clinton completes the seeker review of this project. So there are no other agencies that can administer any permits or approvals until the town of Clinton has completed the seeker review. So hopefully that
Thank you
explains-
very
You're
much.
welcome. We're done. We're done.
No, just think, I think what we do, have to acknowledge that we received 32 comments in email. Okay. And they're part of it. They will be included. Yep, and they'll be included in the record.
For the record, will the town clerk please let us know if you received any public comments prior to the meeting?
I have. I received 32 public comments via email.
How did they break down?
27 were in support. 5 were disapprove/deny.
Okay, are there any,
And those emails will be included in the record.
Correct.
Thanks.
now, are there any public comments on this resolution?
I'll start with the list.
Correct.
Make sure they understand there's no time limit.
3 minutes each.
Yep. I have the timer for 3 minutes. We have Andre S. Clark.
That's Andre J. Clark.
Oh, sorry.
Andre J. Clark, resident of the hamlet of Statsburg, and getting deeper and deeper involved in the affairs of my town, where I've lived for over 31 years. I've been reading and hearing a whole lot about this project. Most of it is negative. Of course, those who would like to complete the project and have a vested economic interest in its existence will share their positive views of the project. I think our board is elected and tasked with the job of judiciously and aggressively looking out for the interests of Hyde Park. My question is, how does this project benefit us as a town? We've heard from our residents their issues with its existence and their perceived sense of how we may be disadvantaged by its existence. And I imagine that the board has done its job. How do you see this project benefiting us? I think at the end of the day, self-interest is what matters. The residents of our town care, our property values, how we live, our we are concerned, how does this project benefit us?
Do you know how many residents are in Hyde Park?
20,000 perhaps?
21,750.
Well, there you go. That's the statistic
Okay.
I've been reading.
Did we hear from 21,750 constituents at all?
No, but I think
And you take really pride in this town. Can you answer me one question? How long have you been here?
I've lived here since 1994.
How come you've never once voted in a local election?
I have always voted in the local
No, you
elections.
haven't. Your records show that, and it's proof.
Well, you can
You can just do what you like.
wait.
Why don't you give him another minute because some of that time got taken away.
Yep.
Please.
I think
1 minute.
at the end of the day, how our town feels about this investment and this project matters, and we've got to address their issue. So if you can share with us how you perceive this benefiting us in the short and long term, then we'll be fine. Thank you.
Next, we have Dennis Pavlock.
I'm going to sit over here because I don't want to have my back to anybody.
Just one second, sir. I just want to.
Take your time, Al. I ain't going nowhere. I got all night.
Is that on?
Hello, hello? No? It's not on. Okay, thank you. I don't want to make the stenographer make me mad.
For the record.
I just want to clarify something for the record. When I say in support, it is in support of the Six Senses driveway access points. That's what I mean with the 27 support. Just
In support of the project, yes.
Support of the project.
Yeah,
And 5
it's project. Yeah, project.
not opposed.
Project. Yeah, 5 are opposed.
Okay, Dennis,
Driveway access.
you got it.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Pavlock. I live at 21 Farm Lane. I have just 2 general comments, and they kind of piggyback on each other.
Yep.
And I've been saying these comments for 20 years, where I used to grow up in the city of Beacon, and I'll continue to say it here. Regarding with any application, any developer, any builder that wants to come in this town, and they want to build something, it should be a give back to the town regarding infrastructure, help us with infrastructure, help us with recreation, help us with anything the town needs. And now I'll go to my next comment, which would be piggyback on their amenities, such as a conference center. I don't think the residents of Hyde Park here have a meeting place where they can go and have their meetings for any groups, social groups, organizations. So I'd like to have that included in that. Anybody, like even the culinary project, be able to use their residents, be able to have a special ID card or a bracelet or something to recognize the town residents, to use their amenities when the town residents need to use their amenities, well, if they're not being used already. So that's my comments in general. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. Those are really good ideas.
Next, we have Cynthia Silva.
Silva?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Cynthia Silver. I live in Rhinebeck, so I guess it's the 3 towns, and I'm totally in favor of this project. And amazingly, after what this gentleman just said, the biggest reason that I am so excited about it is that the Six Senses group wants to help the community. I've already been there for a fundraising event for the Grace Smith House that was phenomenal, and I met the people there, and they're going to help me with the blue fridge that I fill in Kingston, and the food pantries, and all the people who are hungry in this area. So the barn is there for the community. And so what this gentleman asked is already happening, and I'm inviting you all on November 5th to come to the barn at the Six Senses and hear about this amazing blue fridge that the Rotary Club and my temple in Kingston helped, and my friends, to buy a big, beautiful refrigerator that we fill all day long for thousands of hungry people a week. So I think anything that utilizes property that's just not being used is a good thing. When I came to this area in elementary school, Hyde Park looked a lot different, and there was no Stop and Shop on land that was owned by the Roosevelts. So I am so in favor of this and so excited by the people who are in charge of this. I heard the head CEO speak. He's retired, but he's helping the group that's working now on this wonderful project, and I see amazing things happening from it. Unlike Grassmere that I drive by to go home, vacant, roads are covered with dead trees because that was stopped so far. I'm really excited about this, and I thank Wendy Maitland for telling me about this and for the wonderful people who are going to be doing things for the community every week. I am really happy.
Next, we have Tess Lampert.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. Good evening. Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here. I'm going to be brief because I also want to get home. I'm sure you're just as
Can you
tired.
state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Tess Lampert, 23 Kirchner Avenue. I'm one of the very few people here tonight speaking that actually lives in Hyde Park. So I'm one of the petitioners who filed to seek the prohibition of the proposed access road for Six Senses Resort. We're here tonight because allowing these access roads to proceed is a direct threat to the health, safety, and well-being of every Hyde Park resident, including myself and all of you. The construction and ongoing use of the proposed access roads threatens to introduce significant and irreversible toxic contamination into our precious water resources, even by the account of the traffic expert that they hired. The best argument that he could come up with is, yeah, there's PFAS, but there's PFAS everywhere. It's not that much. So what's a little bit more in the protected Greenbelt district? That's the best argument they could have.
I think that's what he said.
The historic Crum Elbow Creek is a substantial mid-sized stream classified AT by the DEC, recognizing its significance. The degradation of water quality will impact the health and property of residents directly and indirectly, short and long term, and be particularly bad for those downstream who rely on this watershed. Regardless of how far we are from the source, water and air travel. It's not about being directly next to this source. One of the biggest threats is contamination from the PFAS, known as forever chemicals, as well as microplastics and pharmaceutical pollution that persists even in treated water. So the laws are constantly being reevaluated by New York because they are just now understanding how damaging these contaminants are. The introduction and potential spread of harmful pollutants like these presents safety risk to all residents. These forever chemicals are linked to serious adverse effects, including liver damage, developmental, immunological, and carcinogenic effects. Those are cold, hard facts. That is not opinion. We know these chemicals harm humans at all stages of development and throughout the life course, and especially serious for children and sensitive individuals. Why would we allow our environment to be contaminated so an outside international business can put up an illegal development? Our health is at stake, mine and yours. These harmful substances migrate through the soil and contaminate our groundwater, affecting area residents far from the discharge source, as well as the underlying Crum Elbow aquifer, which is significant for all Hyde Park and area residents who depend on well water. Clean air and water are a huge part of what makes Hyde Park a safe and desirable place to live. They are two of our most precious natural resources, especially as irreversible contamination ramps up in other parts of the state and country. Sacrificing an historical and ancient waterway at the expense of the long-term health of all town residents is for what? How will you feel when cancer and chronic illness rates rise among your neighbors and families? I can find 5 experts to tell you that eating McDonald's every day isn't bad for cardiovascular health.
Thank you very much.
Can I finish? No? I can't take 10 more seconds to finish.
10 seconds.
By allowing these access roads to proceed, the town risks widespread environmental damage. The evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that approving this project would be a dereliction of the town's duty to protect the property, health, and safety. I urge you to prioritize the health of the residents, yourselves included, and deny the application for these access roads. Thank you. Thanks for the additional time.
Next, we have Wendy Maitland.
Hi. I have two letters here from people who couldn't make it. Can I?
Please state your name and
I'm
address,
sorry.
please, for the record?
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Wendy Maitland, and I am a resident of Rhinebeck, New York. I live on River Road in Rhinebeck, New York, and I was born and raised in Plattsburgh, New York. I have two letters. May I submit them from people from the Chamber of Commerce of Rhinebeck who were not able to make it?
I think we received that.
Yeah, I believe it's in here.
There's one from the president too, so.
We'll just take it just to be on the safe side.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to be really brief, but first of all, I just want to state for the record that I was the broker representing the seller of this property. I think I've stated this here before. People have asked if I have deferred compensation coming to me if the project gets approved. I don't. Just wanted to make that clear. There's no deferred compensation. In my role as broker, I was present when the Sixth Census team toured the property several times and was there with them throughout the due diligence period. What I saw was a group of developers with integrity and to whom protecting the environment is not just a platitude, it's actually a walk that they walk. And I will have to say that I was surprised, and I still am, by the level of opposition, given what I know about this project and the people behind it. My parents, when I was growing up, had the first wellness retreat in the area, starting in 1959, for about 35 years. So I thought, after having toured many, many developers through who were just trying to squeeze out as much profit from the property as possible, that these were far and away the best potential stewards to buy the property. So I was happy about that they showed up compared to mercenary developers. And unfortunately, we didn't get any farmers who could purchase the property. It was quite expensive to run. So I just want to say that I've supported this for reasons that are real and authentic, based on my experience with these people. And I'm not sure where some of the fear is coming from, but I was really surprised by it. And I want to reiterate that Sixth Senses has designed the project to leave over 200 acres undeveloped. I can tell you that there wasn't one prospective buyer who had the means to take the property on who was leaving anywhere near that amount of land undeveloped. And there was no one who stepped up from the community who just wanted to preserve the land and could do that. So to me, Sixth Senses is the perfect steward to go forward with this property. They have constantly discussed and designed the project to mitigate potential impacts on the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Becky Surrell.
I think she had to leave.
Okay. And we have Sarah Lee.
Sorry, I didn't bring any cakes. Good evening. My name is Sarah Lee, and I represent Hudson Valley Economic Development Corporation this evening. We are a regional economic development organization representing the counties north of New York City and south of Albany, a nine-county region. And I'd like to take this opportunity to express our support for the 6 Cents project. We believe that this project will bring significant benefits to our community, our region, both immediately and in the long term. The 6 Cents project has the potential to revitalize our local economy by stabilizing existing businesses and attracting new businesses, creating jobs and increasing the tax base. The economic boost will help fund essential municipal services and ensure a vibrant future for Hyde Park and its neighbors. Moreover, I am encouraged by the project's commitment to a sustainable development practices and thoughtful integration with the existing character of our community. In conclusion, I urge our local officials and decision makers to approve 6 Cents project. It represents an exciting opportunity for Hyde Park to grow in a thoughtful, inclusive, and sustainable way. And I look forward to seeing the positive impacts of this project that in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That is the end of the list here.
Is there anyone else?
May I just give you those letters?
Oh,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I thought you were open to...
Oh, no, go ahead. Sit down.
Yes, yes.
State your name and address, please.
My name is Daniel Aubrey. I'm a resident of Beacon, New York. And unlike probably anybody in this room, I have stayed at a 6 Senses in the Douro Valley in Portugal. And I can tell you that it was a life-changing experience. The company has its origins in the Far East. It's imbued with mystical traditions, is very tuned in to our planet, its needs. To my mind, the town of Hyde Park should welcome 6 Senses with a red carpet, marching bands. They should strew rose petals in its path. It can only enhance Hyde Park's already great reputation as a destination. It can only enrich the community. And I hope, to paraphrase Shakespeare's Othello, that you will not throw away a pearl richer than all your tribe.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Katrina Maloney, 22 Coachman Way in Hyde Park. I'm sure the 6 Senses people are quite lovely, but that's really not relevant. They said expert opinion from experts, that there would be no harm. How can there be no harm if you just say animals, there's harm? No impact? I'm curious what definition they're using because they've already impacted me. They've endangered my mental health. There's a moral obligation, right? If we're talking about endangering people of the town. Random public opinion was used. The public is the town of Hyde Park. And I think our opinion matters. And we should be able to fully communicate to all of you as many times as we need to until we understand the project in full and can vote as a town. The 6 Senses attorney does not speak for me or how offensive this is to my morals. That's a fact. I am offended by this project. The engineer mentioned deer impacts and where there were more vehicle issues with deer. Well, when the deer have no place to go, they go on the roads. So there's that. And there's no such thing as clean asphalt, just want to say that. And for most wildlife, for most wild animals, a constant 60 decibel noise is more than a mild disturbance and can cause significant distress by masking essential natural sounds. I'd like to know if that wildlife biologist made a statement regarding the access road and bridge, or was that opinion just about the whole entire project? I don't know. And was that opinion paid for? Where's the evidence that you are not affecting the people of Hyde Park's mental health and well-being? You're asking us to prove that we're not affected. Can you prove that we won't be affected? And if you know anything about ecology, you know dead trees grow more trees. So if you want to buy somebody a fridge, well, I'm very proud that Six Senses bought somebody a fridge to help feed the homeless. That's great. But what about the rest of the town? This is our community, and we should be making decisions based on the whole array of questions that the town folk have. Thank you.
Yeah. I know.
My name is Susan Spivak, and I live in Hyde Park. I'm a
Address?
resident.
Address?
82 Hudson View Terrace at River Ridge.
Thank you.
Which is a community that we fought hard for with the other group that was here before. And I'm grateful to say that I'm the realtor there, and I'm grateful to say that a lot of people, I'm just done. I only have one more left to sell. It's been a long number of years, but I have one unit left to sell at River Ridge, and then we're full. And I'm in support of Six Senses. I come from, you know, a background of spirituality and a background of understanding that, I mean, I've been over there, I've met the people. I just come from a place where I really believe that this type of an environment won't affect your mental health, won't make you feel like a terrible person, won't make you unhappy. I'm just saying my own piece. Also, the refrigerator was not purchased by them. They're just allowing the young lady that was over before to have a fundraiser, I believe, at the place. They didn't buy the refrigerator for the poor people where we can keep the food. And I'm just in support of it myself. I wasn't sure. I heard all the rumors. There were many, many rumors, this hotel and all this. It's not a hotel, you know. I mean, I don't know if it's a hotel legally, if that's the way that they're coming in, but I just believe in these type of, you know, things that can happen in our community. I've been here 17 years now, and there have been a lot of changes. You know, they happen slow. We got to get that sewer treatment plant. I'm wondering if the stories I hear about that are going to actually happen with Bellafield, but, you know, I have questions about that. But just in general, I just think that our community can really use anything that can come in that can be a spiritually uplifting place for people to go and for people to do things that will be good for the environment, not bad. And I don't think they're going to try to not do good things for the environment. If anything, I think that their mindset is to be very, very environmental. So that's my position.
Thank you very much.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. Graham Trask, fantastic as usual. Graham Trask, 68 Fiddler's Bridge Road, Statsburg, New York. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I think this is clearly all about how this access road endangers the citizens of Hyde Park. The disingenuousness of Mr. Stinger's claims, which are simply claims that he presents as facts, are really quite interesting, because I think he would argue that this coat is not in fact green, it's yellow. And he would bring high-paid experts in because you know it's green But he's going to get a bunch of experts to tell you that, in fact, it's yellow because yellow and blue make green. And if he can parade experts in here to tell you that, then you might believe it. Just like he asserted that there are not going to be 2 bridges, there's only one. But in fact, they're tearing one bridge out and rebuilding it. So in fact, they're building 2 bridges. But not to Mr. Stinger, it's only one bridge. How does this, but you need to look past that. And you need to look at 9G. You're going to have 2 ingresses and egresses. And the very fact that the highway department required a turning lane means that Hyde Park citizens are endangered by this. That's why they required it. And it is interesting that their expert only took 0.6 of a mile and not a mile, because that probably would have included the Hollow Road 9G intersection where there are accidents and deaths all the time. But they don't want to include that because he's a high-paid expert. Just like everyone who marched in here in support of this project is on the dole from 6 Senses. So use your common sense. You're going to be harmed by the traffic. The noise, just a tractor has 100 decibels. Are they going to have tractors on there? Yes, they will have tractors on there. And then finally, dumping effluent into the Crum Elbow Creek, and then they make the claim that there are advances all the time that we might have to address. De facto, it endangers Hyde Park residents and the water. So just use your common sense. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can read this. Listen to the record.
This one better. No, we don't have to.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, all right. So, may I join in for a second here, Mr. Supervisor?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, this had already been discussed, also how to handle this going forward to accommodate Mr. Raplansky and also Mr. Stanger on behalf of the property owner. What my suggestion is going to be, Mr. Supervisor, is we continue the public hearing, we keep it open for the purposes, as both parties had indicated. We do need to get that secret report back from Clinton, so we need to know how that ends up before we can close this public hearing and move forward, and certainly before we can make a determination. So my suggestion would be to keep the public hearing open 2 weeks for any written comment by the public. If any particular member of the public wants to follow up or provide anything in writing for the next 2 weeks, and including obviously the attorneys as well. And then at that point in time, maintain and keep the public hearing open until we get back the findings on seeker. And at that particular point in time, I think it's appropriate to allow, I would recommend allowing Mr. Raplansky a brief opportunity to respond, and Mr. Stanger as well, to respond to anything that comes out of that seeker findings. At that particular point in time, and just those, just because, just those two, and then at that time we can come back at the next meeting and close the public hearing and move forward from there, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Mr. Raplansky? Is that okay with you?
That's fine, that sounds fair.
Okay, thanks.
Sounds fair.
All right.
Okay.
Kyle, I just wanted to ask, so it's 2 Mondays from now, that's the deadline for?
For public comment, for any written public comment, correct.
All right, thank you.
Yep, just make a motion to keep the public hearing open along the lines I just stated.
Right, may I have a motion to keep the public hearing open until seeker review has been reviewed?
So moved.
Is that done?
Yes, sir.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Mark? Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prime?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda?
Aye.
Councilman Campus?
Aye.
Councilman Priscowski?
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Therefore, it will be left open until we get the seeker from Clinton.
And just again, so the record's clear, so it's 2 weeks for any public comments in written form, at which point in time that'll conclude. It will remain open until we get their secret report back from Clinton so that the parties can address whatever's indicated in that report.
Okay, noted.
Thank you.
Can I also just ask a question? Is it too late to do that, or can I ask a quick question?
You can ask a question.
So the studies that were done, all these studies that were done, was it just based on the access road, or was it part of the whole the project as a whole?
The studies that were completed were for the project as a whole, so it included the portions of the project in the town of Hyde Park and the town of Clinton.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, what's next you have?
In regards to local law J, we're going to do a continuation.
We're gonna continue, Kelly, we're gonna continue the public hearing on that until we get something back on the presentation. Yep. All right, so if you wouldn't mind getting a motion to continue.
So can I have a motion to continue?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prime?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda?
Aye.
Councilman Campus?
Aye.
Councilman Priscowski?
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Motion
I
carried.
just want to make sure I'm clear that it's adjourned indefinitely until we have the secret resolution
That is
on the other.
correct.
Okay, thank you very
Yep,
much.
adjourned indefinitely without date.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please make sure that's noted in the
Yep,
minutes.
okay. Adjourned indefinitely?
Without date.
Without date. This is for the
Yeah.
Rezone.
532 Salt Point Turnpike rezoning?
Al, do we
have
Okay.
Well, I can.
They know we're not there.
Right, can we get late?
But we still have, yeah, no, I
Our names on 75 times. No, it's great.
I need a drink of water. You guys mind if I get a drink of water before we start the resolution?
Are we still doing public comments for these?
Yeah, you still have to do your.
Oh, you know where the fridge is, right?
Okay.
You still have to do public comment on the others, on the other items. So once things quiet down,
Yeah.
do public comments and then get into your resolutions.
Okay.
We have a couple other public comments.
Public comments on resolutions only, is that what we're
No,
jumping
this
to?
one is on general, right?
Or,
We did this one.
this is the general.
Oh, general, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Dennis still here? There he is.
Dennis,
I try not to.
we're doing,
On general?
yep,
I do so much.
3 minutes timer.
I'm just like, I don't know what I was getting into. I used to do this for 4 years.
I wasn't sure we were ready yet. Okay. Okay, once again, Dennis Pavlock, 21 Farm Lane. With relating to the 21 Farm Lane concern of making a left out of that road. Oh, oh,
Try the other one.
Try the one in front of you.
this one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
oh.
he's fixing it.
I think it was.
How's that?
Oh, hold on.
Better? No, this one.
Oh, the wire mic.
Oh, yeah, you
Oh,
have the
the
wired
one
one. You just didn't have it close enough, Dennis.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just tap the end, see if it's on. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, let's try this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it.
Dennis Pavlock, 21 Farm Lane.
With relating to the concern I brought to this board 4 or 5 months ago now, we, the residents, are just that. We're residents, taxpayers, and we also are voters. And that can change any election cycle at any time. I'd just like to know if we have a time frame. I know I have your brochure here that
Says I'm working on it.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need to hear, thank you. I think I have one more. No, I think that's it. Wait a minute, do I have anything else? 1, 2, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I just wanted to also say, while I got my time here going, I spoke to Ronnie Wager. I introduced myself, called him, he called me back. I believe he's the real deal, just by talking to him. I believe he would be an asset for the town, for the new highway superintendent. So if you're listening out there in Hyde Park, please give him your vote this year. I don't think you'll be disappointed with his progress and his choices he's going to make when and if he gets in. So thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
All right, we have James Sheedy.
How you doing? James Sheedy, 171 Cardinal Road. I'm just following up from last month. Digging deeper into the nuisance of the Cardinal Road Auto Junkyard Scrap Metal Recycling. They're in violation of a couple of things. Their site plan, which we learned a lot about tonight with all these other companies coming in here and what they're supposed to follow. And what's not happening for us up in the neighborhood of Ward 4, if you're not aware, Don, is the project will not result in any excessive off-premises noise, dust, odors, solid waste, or glare. The project will not cause significant traffic congestion or overload existing roads. The property will be accessed by up to 3 employees daily and receive 2 shipments of vehicles on trailers a day. There will be no significant increase to the traffic from the project. All these are in violation. We've reached out to zoning, and there's buildings. I don't have the site plan, the fancy computers and all this stuff, but if you look on the site plan, I can bring it again. There's 2 buildings on there that are illegal. They don't belong on the property. They haven't even submitted any variances to petition the town to say, hey, we're going to put an addition on to the property. It's not included in the site plan. I've tried to reach out to you again via email. You responded to me with 1 sentence that you were working on a decibel. Great. You haven't had any, like, hey, what do you think about decibel readings, anything coming back from us? I wanted to try and meet up with you privately, and again, you did ignore me. You didn't respond to my email.
Well, I remember one of the emails you sent me where you said you won't be silenced. I don't know who on the board is silencing you.
You're not outside of here when we can talk. You know, hey, voice a complaint to you. Hey, you're the town councilman. Do you reciprocate the courtesy of a follow-up email, a phone call? I gave you all that information, and you don't talk to anybody unless we come here and talk to you.
Yeah, I did follow up, and that's something that we're working on.
In 1 sentence?
Now.
That's 1 sentence.
That's where we are with that, is a decibel level noise reduction up in that area, yes.
That's something that you send off in a text, 1 sentence, over the course of a year. That's the only thing I've heard from you. You had time to go to the spaghetti dinners and do everything else around town, hang up all your signs, but where's the attention that we're getting up in your ward, in that neighborhood?
What spaghetti dinner are you talking about?
Whatever meet and greets you guys do at the steakhouse, the Italian restaurant, wherever, and here we're asking you to come up. I asked you that in the email. I have proof of it. You want me to print it out? I'll hand it in.
No, I printed out your emails. I have them.
Okay.
I saved them also.
Good. So when are we going to get your attention?
You have my attention.
Just to follow, moving forward, Where are we going to go from here? Deadlines, the illegal activities that are taking place.
Can I ask you a question? So did you go, I genuinely want to help you. That's why I'm asking you this question. So, did you spoke with the building inspector or code
Zoning.
enforcement about these things that you're just mentioning now?
Yeah.
Two new structures went in there?
Yes.
And you spoke to him?
Yep.
And what did?
And so it's language that we're waiting on from DEC, but if the town's waiting for an engineered site stamped building for like, hey, some type of structure, what are we waiting for? They have to submit the variance to say to the town first, hey, this is what we're proposing to change on our site plan.
Well, let me take I ask you that because I'm going to follow up with him about what this information and what he knows to find out what, if any, code violations there truly are or site plan violations.
They're not on the site plan, those buildings. They're
Okay,
not.
If they're not on the site plan, I'll talk to him about it. I don't want to prejudge anything. I want to make sure he has I don't want to call him up tomorrow and say he's never spoken to you. So you've spoken to him. I can now reach out to him.
Tad, whoever's in charge of zoning, right? Kathleen, is that
Well,
Kathleen?
building permit would be Rick Cronin's.
Yeah,
building
that's who I'm talking about.
It's again, I'm looking for guidance. I'm looking for help, Don. Where do I go? Put the piece, help us put the pieces together.
There was supposed to be a meeting here at Town Hall with the property owner. When I talked to Tad, Kathleen Moss about that, there was a DEC violation that they were trying to come into compliance with. She wanted to hold off on that meeting until that DEC compliance was completed.
So these have been up for easily a year. When there's deadlines, when are we going to see deadlines of saying, hey, okay, now you're compliant? They don't even have, they're out of compliance on so many levels.
Jim, it's difficult to give deadline compliances when there's other agencies involved because we can't control how fast they work or disseminate information back.
Well, then this poor guy's never going to get Farm Lane taken care of if we got to talk to DOT and other agencies. And all the agencies these people just talked about tonight with DEC and all the stuff and all the language that's used. How are we going to talk to them if we're not going to deal with a problem that's already existing here now?
The Farm Lane thing is totally different because it's a state DOT intersection. It has nothing to do with the town. The town
He's yelling at you because you're not on the mic.
What I'm saying is, we have to deal with other agencies.
But I just don't want you to fly off and go somewhere that
It's for context. I totally understand. But if we're going to deal with other agencies, how are we going to deal with it?
Well, you just brought another issue to the town board tonight, and now there's a second thing that the attorney's going to work on for you.
Are these metal structures or Quonset huts?
Yeah, and it's the Kwanzaa huts. They're sea containers, and so even speaking with John before, I know he's not here tonight. The process that it goes through is they're going to submit their building permit or whatever, their variance, and to change the site plan, it comes to, then nobody in the neighborhood got letters about these buildings going up, and if John says, or Tad, or whoever says that we're just waiting for an engineered plan, what are you waiting for, just to sign it without having our input? Because now we got to look at the sea containers from wherever in the world, and then just stick a little tent on it? And you guys are liable, the town. If, somebody, mental illness, Alzheimer's, dementia, special needs child, they're open to the public. If they go wandering up there and there's a snow load and doesn't have the capacity for it and it fails, you guys are allowing this to keep going on. You guys are going to be liable for it with the junkyard. If that were to, it's a hypothetical, but that's what law is, right? Liability.
I'm going to follow up. I will follow up with Tad and find out precisely what the story is and whether or not there's any potential enforcement actions that can be taken.
Well, if they put buildings up, yeah.
Yeah, we got to have Rick involved now. I mean, because that's really what it's going to come down to. So that's why I asked if they're going to be familiar with this. So I'll check into it. If there's some enforcement actions, then obviously it can be brought back to the town board, and the town board, assuming there's a viable action, can authorize enforcement.
And the special use permit, they're in violation of.
That's enforcement. Yeah, that's enforcement. So if there's violations that are out there, we speak to the building inspector and the TAD, find out what's going on.
Because they have to submit a variance for this. If they're going to employ more than 3 employees.
All right. Starts with them. I got to start with them. They're the code enforcement officers. They're the building inspector. Starts with them. They give me their report. If there's an enforcement action, I bring it to the town board. Town board authorizes enforcement, assuming there's a viable claim, and that's how this process goes forward. The other thing I'm going to tell you, because I do this a lot in a lot of towns, do enforcement not only in this side of the river, but the other side of the river. It's not an easy fix.
Then what is this? Then what is this contract then?
The contract gives, assuming there's a violation, let's assume there's a violation, okay? In order to enforce, what you have to do, same thing was when someone breaches a contract. When someone breaches a contract, you just can't go over there and take their money. You gotta sue them. You gotta bring them to court. You gotta get a judge involved. You gotta get discovery going.
So do I need to get legal counsel then? The petition that we have, which Sarah, you'll have this week.
Listen, I just told you what I'm gonna do. You can get you can get attorney if you want. You can, and find out what other actions you might be able to bring personally. But from what I have, what I would do in this case, is I have to first go to the code enforcement officers, get their opinion and get their report on what's going on there. If there's viable enforcement actions that can be taken, then I come back and the town board's got to be able to authorize that. That's the first step.
Jim, there won't be any hesitation. If there's a violation found that we can prove, there won't be any hesitation for that. But the legal work has to be done by the town attorney. I'm just not that knowledgeable for legal work. I'm not an attorney.
But I know if they put illegal buildings up there, we can do something serious about that.
Yeah, well, it's still, but
it's that slippery slope. It's this gray area of waiting for an agency.
I know, but it's not. Yep, but they're not. It's not like they're coming down. You can say, hey, you're not. You can't go in there. There's no. I mean, you can do stuff like that, but they don't come down without a court order, and even then, that's a total.
And it sounds like I said, if they're waiting for approvals from DEC for some compliance issue that they have, it sounds like it's already just going to get signed off on.
They're not here. I got to talk to them. I got to talk to them and see what they say.
Yeah, Tad will be here tomorrow.
And we can't speak for DEC, but if they're in violation, they're not just good. DEC's not just going to let them ride with that. They're not just going to.
So I've talked to DEC about the lack of licensing that they have, and it reverts back to how they have a special use permit that the town allowed them to have, and that's why they're not really enforcing much. They're not putting pressure on them to conduct the business that they're doing.
When I looked into that, I don't believe that the previous board who issued the permit had inkling of the amount, the volume of business that was going to be put on that property. I don't think they did it with malice. I think it was just as simple from changing hands from one business to another. So we have to try and address that. I don't know what legal avenue to have once a permit of use has been issued. What legal avenue we have to take that back or to pursue to revive that.
All right, you might want to.
So that's something else we have to look into.
Can you come up to the neighborhood and meet with us?
I can come up there, Jim. I've done 2 site plans there.
But that's with them. You're looking at it from their.
I've been up there. I went up there on Thanksgiving with a local resident who was trying to hunt. On Thanksgiving, I went out there and he's in his stand and you could hear it. And from there, I went to the business. I said, "Could you guys please adhere to at least the very same holiday schedule as the rest of the town and keep the business closed down on the holidays, the holidays that the town recognizes?" And he said, "Yeah, we can do that." He says, that business probably shouldn't have been running that morning anyway, but there was nothing to prevent them from doing that. But when I went over there and talked to him, and I asked him if they could adhere to the same holidays as the rest of town, he didn't have a problem with it.
Just the decibel readings, there's factors that I think the neighborhood really should have an opportunity to talk to you guys about.
And not only that, but the ground, the vibration that goes through the ground up there because of that big rock.
With the leaves up, with the leaves down, the noise, it's going to get worse now that we're getting into the fall season.
Yeah, everything you guys say is true, what's going on up there. Everything.
Let's have to deal with it. All right, Dennis. I gave you my number. You didn't call.
There was nothing to follow up on, really. I mean, I just wanted to hear him. I know there's legalities. The two of you can't come and up to the neighborhood and listen to us.
No, we can both. We can't have 3.
Okay. I'll have the petition this week for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Dennis. Colin?
Dwayne Pearson?
I've noticed there have been a number of people that have trouble with mics. Can you hear me? I don't want to swallow it, but we can't hear back there when the people are talking. If you educate them or you get better mics, something should be done. And the poor stenographer over here repeatedly asks people to use the mic.
Yeah.
She can't hear. She can't put the words on paper. James came around the neighborhood and
Can you just state your
yeah,
full
my name is Dwayne Pearson.
Address.
72 Rogers Road. Okay, second house in from Cardinal.
Now you're good.
James came around with a petition and he said something that was grating on him. He was getting all this noise. He said, we get it too. I signed it. My wife signed it. And it's simply our complaint. 40 years ago, we built our home. Cardinal Road Auto Yard was operational as a pick and pull. I salvaged the side mirror for my car from this yard. Simple hand tools were used to strip parts, and the yard was not noisy. The volume of traffic in and out of the yard was not high. When this yard was sold, the business model was changed to a salvage company with a high volume of traffic and industrial level demolition. The noise level is extremely high and far more traffic is created on residential streets. The impact on those streets with these loaded semi-trailers of crushed car bodies must really be taking a toll on them. I know from the ruts that I see, it's taking a toll on my springs. In the summer, we enjoy grilling out, but we're subjected to the noise level ripping, tearing, crushing these automobiles and trucks. On one occasion, a dinner guest was startled at the noise and said we should go to Cardinal Road and help the accident victims. He thought it was a car wreck out there. It is really bad. Now that the leaves are falling, we're going to get the full blast of demolition sound without the screening effect of vegetation. I can't imagine why Hyde Park zoning law or regulation and officials would permit this business in what otherwise is a peaceful residential neighborhood. It's the wrong place. When a motorcycle or a car with a loud muffler passes down the street, it's annoying, but the sound lasts but a few seconds. The salvage operation operates 6 days a week and has even made noise on Sundays. I don't know that it's going to change its spots. Noise is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as a sound, especially a loud or unpleasant or undesired one. I got to tell you, what we hear meets that definition. Some synonyms are clamor, din, thunder, uproar, and racket. Now, I don't know, James was on for how long?
Go ahead and finish.
Noisy is full of noise, loud, deafening, ear-splitting, jarring, grating, or harsh. We got all that. We got all that. The sound that assaults the neighborhoods around Cardinal Road, Kyle Estates, Rogers Road, and vicinity, that's noise. That's what it is. It's crushing glass, breaking metal, mashing motors, squashing chassis. It's meant to reduce the object to the smallest size possible with tremendous force, and it incidentally creates noise. It's nasty. I'm glad you don't live there. You know, some sounds and noises are acceptable, expected. Church bells ringing, fire alarms, chainsaws, mowers, ice cream trucks coming through your streets. warning horns blowing. But these sounds are sporadic and expected in neighborhoods where people live. They rarely cause concern over what's happening. Many times they're just seasonal and certainly short-term. The noise we're discussing is every day for many hours, all week long, and at every season. Noises that are generated by the demolition of automobiles. It's not only invasive but loud, constant, and in a way frightening, as reminiscent of accidents, cars crashing into each other, and the tragedies of natural disasters, perhaps even war. The bottom line is noise does not contribute to a peaceful residential community. Is that it does not increase property values or contribute to mental well-being, and it has no place on Cardinal Road.
Mr. Pearson, I want to make one thing really clear. We're like you. We got handed this problem. This was done by the previous administration, not by us. Now we're trying to deal with it.
Can you give me that piece on that? James shared this with me tonight. I hadn't seen it before. But the planning board resolution said, microphone. The planning board resolution said the project will not result in any excessive off-premises noise, dust, odors, solid waste, or glare. Now, I don't know how you deal with that and enforce something based upon that, but that's all we got. The project will not cause significant traffic congestion or overload existing roads. And I think James has asked our current supervisor of the roads to come and speak on that point. They say here that the property will be accessed by up to 3 employees daily and receive 2 shipments of vehicles on trailers a day. That ain't true.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we see that? Can we just see that? I don't want to steal your thunder here, but it'd probably be a lot quicker too if I could just take a look at it. Yeah, 2021. Right? Okay. All right, this is my copy? Can I have this copy?
Unless I get reimbursed from the town for that copy.
Here, you can have it. You can have it back.
How much you want?
I charge by the hour, so.
We'll get it. Go ahead, Ham.
Are you done? Sure.
Good.
I think I spent enough time
Yeah.
up here. It's loud, it's noisy, it's
We're
disturbing.
not in disagreement with you.
I don't know about young people with children, older people that are infirm, you know, you gotta look around. I don't know anyone here. I've lived here in town for over 40 years. It's changed. You know, all the faces have changed, you know? Okay? But this hasn't. It goes on.
Every day.
I wish I had a recording of it. I'd play it for you.
No, I've been up there. I almost got ran over the road by one of those.
I'm going to give you the hook. How's everybody doing? I'm Howard Fisher. I'm the highway superintendent. I have to tell you,
3 minutes.
I stayed tonight. Yeah, I'm going to be under 3. I'm tired. I had to listen to Warren for a long time. They reach out to me quite a bit, and I have to tell you, the car carriers that come in all day long, it's not one trip a day. When we pave that road, we spend a lot of money on it. They're destroying it. You know, we pave it for the residents who live there, for a business to destroy it, and that's what they're doing. The tractor trailers that come in 4 in the morning sometimes. They've taken their property, covered it with millings, which is illegal. And talk about MS4, that's a whole nother nightmare. But I feel bad for these people over there because it wasn't what was supposed to be there. And I know you inherited this, it's not your fault, but man, something has to be done. It's ridiculous, the amount of traffic they produce just in trucks. The car carriers are 3 cars on that carrier every day. They come 3 and 4 together, in and out, all day long, bringing cars to be crushed. And then Baroni's big trucks come in that are way too big for that winding road, and they're driving off the edges, breaking it. John was with me. I was over yelling at the owners because they're destroying a brand-new road. And they're nice in the beginning when you talk to them, but they don't care. They really don't care. So I also wanted to say, this is my last town board meeting. I stayed tonight for the Cardinal Road people. But I want to thank each and every one of you. It's been a great run. It's my time. I know Ray's running and Rodney's running. I wish whoever wins, by the next town board meeting, you'll have a new highway superintendent in name until the end of the year. But I just wanted to thank everybody and Jim and Danielle for all the money and the town hall people. So, and Pete, town
Careful what
engineer.
you say there about all the money.
Yeah, well, listen, they never said no to me, so I got to thank them.
Right.
So, all righty.
you, Howie.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Howard. I'd like to at least say a little bit of something about the noise complaints and trucks on different roads, but just in the town in general. I'm working with the chief on gathering different noise complaints, noise ordinances for decibels and things of that nature from different municipalities, also with what the town has. And those different municipalities will be in this county and outside of the county. But how I'm hearing some things, the noise decibel policy isn't going to take care of everything. It has many different tentacles with that. You have to deal with DOT, traffic, things of that nature, weight measures. So we may go out there and have the perfect noise ordinance. It has time of operation and what you can carry and when you can do it, but it will not take care of everything. So it's going to be sort of a joint thing with many different departments and not something that's just going to happen right away. And neither will myself and Chief Benson getting this thing together. I can't give you a time stamp, and I'm not going to give you a month, 2 months, or 3 weeks on this. And it's going to have to, I'm going to be working with it with Kyle as well, so it has to pass muster on many different levels. And I just want you guys to understand that something is being done. You don't hear everything that's going on, and we do understand the discomfort that's happening with you and your properties. Yes, ma'am. Please step up.
My husband will contest that I speak loud enough at home and I really don't need this.
Oh, you will.
I have a sore throat. Jeannie Pearson, Rogers Road. Just decibels. You can have decibels at an acceptable level. You can have the ice cream truck that comes around in the summertime selling ice cream on our streets. But you don't have it from 8 or 7 in the morning until 4 or 5 at night. The decibel level is nice. Would you like to hear Christmas music all day long at a low decibel level on your street? Decibels are not just the answer here. The answer is this company needs to go to a place where all of them are making a lot of noise.
Well,
This is not the answer.
Understood. Like I said,
That's all I have to say.
It's a time and location with that.
Hey, listen, I don't have that much longer to live. I'd like to enjoy my retirement.
I understand
Thank you.
there's a time and a moment where the noise
I know
levels.
you try hard.
And they can't, everything isn't going to be
Trying hard,
handled
I
all
know,
at
but
once.
This
So-
has been going, the first time we heard it was over a year ago.
Mhm.
It is horrendous. I don't live next to it like poor James, he's next to it. It should not happen
Right.
in a town like ours. And somebody should have said something a long time ago, and the zoning should have made sense. So much of it doesn't. Years ago, we tried to put zoning together, and that was a horror show. 20 years ago. Ask Howard. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Thank you.
We're praying for you, lighting candles.
Is Colin Stark here? No? We're doing, Sarah Lee. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Sarah Lee, should I say my address? I live in Dutchess County, but not in Hyde Park.
Okay.
That's good. So I'm here just to commend the board for considering and authorizing not only the letter intent to apply for the pro-housing community, but I also ask the board to consider and approve the standard resolution required by the state for the pro-housing certification program. The pro-housing certification program will allow the town to then be qualify for state grants such as the New York Forward program and the technical assistance grant that has the deadline has just been extended to the end of November, which provides municipalities technical assistance to do studies such as a traffic report, look at what investments to do municipal water and sewer as it relates to promoting housing in your community. So with that, I commend you for taking the first step. I think it will unlock a lot of grants that will be coming in the next few months, and but we'll urge you to also consider approval of the standard resolution required by the pro-housing community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You sent that to us, right?
I sent
You
that to
just-
Cecilia,
Okay.
the resolution.
Okay. Okay.
That's all that we have on the sheet.
All right. Okay. Instead of doing the roll call vote, we're going to go all in favor.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay. Mark, you go.
Resolution 1020-1 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the retirement of the Town of Hyde Park Police Lieutenant Jason Rosillo.
Have a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, carried.
Resolution 1020-2 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint provisionally Andrea Ortiz as part-time hourly clerk for the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, carried.
Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Board to approve vacation carryover for Town of Hyde Park Police Dispatcher Tracy Merritt.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-4 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for the Town of Hyde Park Public Building Inspector Raymond Krosner.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-5 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to release a performance guarantee for the West Dorsey construction access related to the hotel site plan and establishing a new performance guarantee for the use of the West Dorsey construction access for the town home site plan, Belfield Inn and Townhouses West Dorsey construction access.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
What's this amended? I have to read that?
Just read read the bold stuff.
Amended 1020 at 12:30, Resolution 1020-6 of 2025, resolution introducing local law number D of 2025, a local law to amend Chapter 108 of the Town Code with regard to the regulation of extended care facilities and setting a public hearing.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Record should reflect the public hearing is scheduled for November 10th, 2025, at 6:05 PM.
Noted.
Amended 1020 at 12:30 PM, Resolution 1020-7 of 2025, resolution setting a public hearing regarding a request for height variation for buildings 3,000, 3,100, 3,200, and 3,300 within the Bellafield Phase 4 development.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Again, the public hearing on that scheduled for November 10th, 2025, at 6:05 PM.
Resolution 1020-8 of 2025, resolution declining offer of secession, acknowledging abandonment of proposed road and requiring access easements and road maintenance agreement as a condition subdivision approval.
May I have a second, please?
Aye.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Resolution 1020-9 of 2025, a resolution directing enforcement actions up to and including revocation of the Optimum Cable franchise for material breach, issuing notice of default, and scheduling a public hearing pursuant to the franchise agreement.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-10 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve set a public hearing for the 2026 preliminary budget for the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Resolution 1020-11 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park, non-pro-tunc, to accept credit card payments and to pass along processing fees.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-12 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to accept 2026 and 2027 proposal for elevator service and maintenance.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-13 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to award the bid for the Town Hall rear entry reconstruction project to Thomas Gleason Incorporated.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Long overdue. Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-14 of 2025, resolution enrolling the Town of Hyde Park in the Dutchess County's curbside textile collection program and declining authorization for any clothing collection bins on town property at this time.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-15 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Board to authorize the town supervisor to execute the shared service change order with the County of Dutchess for automotive repairs and maintenance for the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-16 of 2025, resolution requesting the New York State Department of Transportation and Dutchess County Department of Public Works to do a study to reduce the speed limit on North Quaker Lane within the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-17 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the hiring of an appraiser for tax certiorari proceedings, Hyde Park Hotels LLC versus the assessor of the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-18 of 2025, resolution authorizing non-pro-tunc the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to provide a letter of support rebuilding together Hudson Valley's Application Corporation's Affordable Home Ownership Development Program.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-19 of 2025, resolution authorizing support and submission of letters of intent to apply for a designation as New York State pro-housing community.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-20 of 2025, resolution authorized to set public hearing for the New York Forward NYF program grant application.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-21 of 2025, a resolution authorizing Nunc-Pro-Tunc, the Town of Hyde Park Town Board, to waive the restrictions of consumption of alcoholic beverages on public property in the Town of Hyde Park according to Chapter 35 of the Town Code to allow for alcoholic beverages to be consumed at the Town of Hyde Park Library event to be held on Saturday, October 18th.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
We were there.
Nunc
Hey,
pro
all in
tunc.
favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-22 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to authorize the Hyde Park Town Clerk to solicit bids for 2026 contractual services for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-23 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Board to authorize the Town Hyde Park Clerk to solicit bids for 2026 highway materials for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-24 of 2025, resolution authorizing Nunc-Pro-Tunc retention of ICC Community Development Solutions and the EBIZ docs for document conversion and access, project funded through the Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund, or the LGR-MIF.
May I have a second? Greg? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-25 of 2025, a resolution acknowledging the resignation of David McNary as chairman and member of the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Board of Appeals.
It's effective the 31st. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Resolution 1020-26 of 2025, resolution accepting the resignation of Gerald Bowen as vice chairman of the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Board of Appeals and appointing Gerald Bowen as chairman of the Hyde Park Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Yes.
Resolution 1020-27 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor, Nunc-Pro-Tunc, to sign the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation 18th month MS4 Operation Certificate Form, SPDES General Permit for Stormwater Discharge from Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems GP-0-24-001. E-report submission number HQG-87P0-CMB2E, prepared by the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Administrator Kathleen Moss.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-28 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Administrator Kathleen Moss to attend the Dutchess County Soil and Water Conservation District Contractor Erosion and Sediment Control Training on November 5th, 2025, located at the Farm and Home Center in Millbrook, New York.
May I have a second, please?
You have a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-29 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Zoning Administrator Kathleen Moss to attend the Dutchess County MS4 Phase 2 Stormwater Regulations Training, the role and responsibility of the Municipal Stormwater Program Coordinator and Stormwater Management Officer on November 12th, 2025, located at the Poughkeepsie Town Hall in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Have a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-30 of 2025, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve nunc-pro-tunc the Town of Hyde Park Assessor, aid Deidre Primrose, to attend the Dutchess County Assessor Clerk Training located at the Dutchess County Farm Center on October 15, 2025.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-31 of 2025. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to accept a donation from Roundout Savings Bank to be utilized for the Town of Hyde Park's 2025 4th of July Parade.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1020-32 of 2025, resolution authorizes Town of Hyde Park Town Board to accept a donation from St. Margaret's Protestant Episcopal Church to be utilized for the 2025 pickleball tournament.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, do we have any new or old business? Anyone? Okay,
I have the budget to present to the town board.
okay.
I'm presenting the 2026 preliminary budget to the town board. This will be available on the website tomorrow. Just handing that down. There you go.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Make sure everyone has one. And it'll also be available in the town clerk's office tomorrow for inspection.
All right, if nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.